Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and as we are right now, whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to theindianjesus.com for your very own official merch. Guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join. The link is in the chat. Absolutely free to join. It is a good time. We are in there 24/7, hanging out, having a good time. And if you join as a member of this YouTube channel, you can scroll right below the video and hit that join button. And not only do you get members only live streams here on YouTube, but it also gives you full access to the Discord server, not just the free channel, but we got other channels in there, and it includes the after party channel. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream, as soon as we are finished, we head over to the after party. We don't have to worry about any of the YouTube censors or anything like that. You are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good old time. You should definitely come and join us. Shout out to Harley Rose in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So yeah, I don't usually stream from the studio on a Thursday. But last night, you know, we had a bunch of, we were struggle streaming, and I let it get to me, and I was, you know, I just wasn't in a good spot. So I was like, let's just end the stream here. We'll try again tomorrow. It was kind of a slow news day in the sense that there's a lot going on, but there wasn't really a lot of new information. So, you know, I left it up. I think, you know, from the conversation that we did have, it was interesting. But I felt like I owed you a full show. So we are back. Another Tucker Carlson episode where Jack Posobiec was on earlier this week talking about, you know, the coup of Biden, what's going on with Kamala, the official story or lack thereof of the Trump Assassination. So we're going to get into all of that. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
What just happened?
So I'm driving up here to undisclosed location 1, and you know, I'm getting these phone calls all of a sudden, just like I got random phone calls a week ago that said Donald Trump has been shot, and we didn't even know at the time what was going on. And then suddenly I'm getting phone calls from my team saying, hey, Joe Biden has just dropped out. I'm like, what do you mean he dropped out? Is there an Oval Office address? He's not in the Oval Office. He's supposed to be in Rehoboth.
I mean, now there is
very suspicious letter, which is signed by Joe Biden in a signature that is different from all of his other signatures. It's put out, and it says that he is dropping out of the race. It doesn't cite a reason. It doesn't cite any specifics as to what's going on. Doesn't endorse Kamala Harris in the letter itself. And it's just posted to his Twitter account, just X. So it's posted up there, and we don't hear from him. We don't see him. We don't see Jill. We don't see any of the senior staff. His senior staffers are the ones informing the cabinet after this. So Biden himself doesn't even call his own cabinet to talk to them.
So it's 11:15 on Monday.
Yes.
And as of right, and by the time this is posted, it may change, but we have not heard from Biden.
We have not.
And we have now heard from Biden, of course, but it looked pretty weird for a moment there. Shout out to Sam. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said Obama wants Mark Kelly from Arizona to be the front runner. Yeah, I mean, that is a big question of why, especially if Biden is going to endorse Kamala. You would think that the sitting president, the endorsement would be higher than a former president, but obviously that is not the case. And so that being up in the air, you know, it says a lot about not only Kamala, but Joe as well. And I mean, since Obama was in office, we knew that he was always like, Joe, that's Joe for you. But welcome, welcome, welcome to the party.
Not heard from Biden or seen Biden personally since, no proof of life, since Wednesday at this event in Las Vegas, where they pulled him out because he was diagnosed with COVID. Nothing.
There's been no sighting of him at all.
Not until I think it was 2 days ago. There was footage of him walking from the vehicle to the Oval, the White House, and then there was the White House, the Oval Office address that was supposedly live. but I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying that at the very least it was pre-recorded. The light outside, it was way too early, or it was way too light for it to be 8 p.m. So it was pre-recorded. Some people are saying it was deep faked. That like, oh, if you just look at his mouth, then it's all weird. But I think I don't think it was necessarily a deep fake. I think they just pre-recorded it. But that was only yesterday. So this was recorded 3 days ago. And of course we're going to hit the like button on every video that we watch because we appreciate the work that goes into it. So as of 3 days ago, nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue.
As of today, I haven't seen anything, I haven't heard anything. We get all these reports from someone familiar with the president's thinking, familiar with Joe Biden's thought processes, someone who claims that they just saw Biden. But no, there's no Biden, there's no evidence of Biden, there's no sighting of Biden, there's no Biden taking a selfie saying, "Hey America, thanks for the memories." Nothing. Not a single piece of
it. The closest we have, I think, is his brother Frank coming out to CBS yesterday, not on camera.
Right.
Telling the reporter, I love my brother, and for whatever time he has left, I'll be glad to be with him. And then the Biden family apparently comes out and says, well, actually, Frank's an alcoholic. You can't listen to anything.
Yeah, that's crazy, Frank. And he hasn't talked to his brother in weeks.
But what? A Biden with substance abuse issues? Oh, couldn't be.
Well, actually, Frank's an alcoholic. You can't listen to anything he says.
Yeah, that's crazy, Frank. And he hasn't talked to his brother in weeks. But that being said, even if he did talk to his brother weeks ago, and there was a medical condition that raises to that level, then we don't know. Look, that being said, though, what he said, Frank, about Biden, whatever time he has left, that actually lines up with something that I heard from a well-placed White House official, not as high as the inner circle or anything like that, but said something about Biden asking questions about, what is it like to have dementia?
Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Yeah, doing a little mulligan. Yesterday we didn't do so great, so I figured I owed you guys a full show, and we are here for it. Welcome to the party. Holly Rose said his watch had the wrong time. He grew 3 inches, got a tan, and got Botox. Yeah, I saw the videos of him walking next to Jill, and usually, it's like that. And then all of a sudden, like, what even? I don't even know what to speculate as to why that would be. I don't even why? Crazy. Sam said, Dem voters are claiming Biden dropping out shows he put the country above his ego. Not really. They could have said that if he resigned and dropped out. Very good point. And even the dropping out, it's very clear that he didn't make this decision in the goodness of his heart. They had something that forced him out. It was very clear. 9 days before the thing on X, he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm staying in the race, and we're gonna win, and all of that. So it seems pretty clear that this was not Joe's choice. Shout out to the Funk Master General coming in hot with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for my co-host Morty. Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated.
Said something about Biden asking questions about, what is it like to have dementia? What is it like to lose your mind and realizing that there's no future for you. Your future is your legacy, of course, but your future personally is you're going to be confined to a bed, and you're going to wake up and maybe not recognize people's faces, this type of thing. And that he was asking those questions. And so perhaps when he talked to his brother, he said something similar.
And then we also know that when you are, a lot of people are well, not a lot of people. Somebody, sources close to Biden said that they think it's Parkinson's. But either way, some type of degenerative disease, and the fear of looking ahead. And then as it gets worse, you have moments of lucidity where you'll realize, like, oh, I'm here, and they'll be on it. And then just seconds later float away. It's really, really, really sad. Yeah, right. Remember, he had COVID so bad he had to be whisked away, but days later he's just fine. No talk of a positive test, no talk of anything at all. I told you guys. I told you he did not have COVID. That was completely some BS. Dylan said, did I miss something? Unless we have some anonymous level intel that can investigate the Lincolning attempt on Trump. I like that way of putting it. We will be left in the dark about this. Okay, referring to the poll, the running poll, guys, that we have is, will we ever find out the truth about the Trump attempt? And everybody is pessimistic, shall we say. Pessimistic.
Those questions. And so perhaps when he talked to his brother, he said something similar.
But it's Monday. We're in the middle of two wars, and we're in the middle of these wars. We're paying for these wars. Americans are fighting in these wars right now. And there may be a third war with Iran approaching quickly. That's my read on it. And there's no proof that Joe Biden even exists right now.
There's nothing. This is even Khrushchev. So when the Soviets wanted to get rid of Khrushchev in 1964, he was on vacation, and he's down in, I guess it's in the Republic of Georgia now, in Abkhazia, and he's on the beach, and Brezhnev and all the guys get together in the Kremlin, and they say, okay, we're done with this guy. He's old. We're pushing him out. They're like, we're not going to wait for death of Stalin on him. We're just going to go in and decide we're making the move. They get with the KGB because Brezhnev had already kind of maneuvered everything, so his guys were in power, and they run the full Unhumans playbook on him and say, you're done. They have him come back when he flies back, and they say, we have a meeting to discuss agricultural reports, and they come in. KGB intercepts Khrushchev at the airport. They bring him in, and they hand the letter in front of him, and they say, this is the letter. You're going to sign it.
Yeah. I have to imagine that, number one, if it was even that far, that, this was the situation. It wasn't like Joe saying, you know what, guys, I think what's best for America is that I don't run. What do you think of that, guys? That's not how it happened. That is most likely how it happened. And that's being generous, because that signature, the fact that there was no video, not even a picture, nothing. It was just a text with the wrong signature, leads me to believe that it was Jill or somebody else who did that. And I don't know as of 8 p.m. yesterday, 8 p.m. Eastern yesterday. I think that is the first time we can be sure that Joe Biden knew that he was not running. Before that, what proof do we have that Joe even knew? None. Shout out to Sandor Clegane. Welcome to the party. Big fan. So what's going on? Too much. We got, they're talking about Biden, that we got signs of life since then. This was a couple of days ago, but, we got the story with Crooks. We got Kamala. We got Joe being 10 feet tall, and there's a lot going on. So welcome to the party. Sam said, I'll put it like this. We will get the full Epstein client list before we ever get the truth about the assassination on Trump. Fair. I think you might be right about that. Sanders says Joe didn't want to go. He was forced. His phone call at Kamala's speech seemed fake. Yeah, that definitely seemed like just, an AI prompt. I don't even, because again, if you're going to do that, why not put a camera in front of him? It's not like, it's like, oh no, he looks bad. He always looks bad. It looks way worse to not have a camera on him. And then Kamala's like, oh, we know that you're still on the call. It's like, did you just say recording? You were gonna say recording. I think so. Shout out to Jess Talk TV. Welcome to the party. Said I agree with Obama. Open it for everyone. Catching up. You mean in terms of like a primary? I think that would be democracy. That would be democracy. All the people yelling about what's going on with the threat to our democracy now want to completely undermine the will of the people. Can't make this shit up. Welcome to the party, guys.
They bring him to discuss.
This is what we're saying. This was with Khrushchev, but we're saying it's likely a very similar thing to what Joe experienced, as opposed to him just deciding that he wasn't going to run.
Agricultural reports, and they come in. KGB intercepts Khrushchev at the airport. They bring him in, and they hand the letter in front of him, and they say, "This is the letter. You're going to sign it." And Khrushchev at that point goes, "You know what? I'm old. I always kind of knew this day was going to come." So he just goes along with it. He just totally lays out. They put him under house arrest for the rest of his life. He's never seen or heard from again. He gets like a memoir that comes out.
But that's the Soviet Union. I mean, this is a
free
and transparent country owned by its own citizens.
Whatever.
Is it though? We like to think that we're so much better than the Soviet Union. We like to think that we're so much more civilized. But are we? Are we? I really don't know. And yeah, the Kabuki Theater is they are already trying to erase Border Czar from Kamala's resume, so to speak. There's here actually I need to pull this up.
Quote unquote border czar.
Check this out. This is insane.
Vice President.
So this is the media. If you're just listening, we have media after Biden dropped out versus media before. So this is after Biden dropped out.
Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People gonna have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tasked Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
And after. Like Kabuki Theater is the name of the game. It's insane. Sandor Clegane. Bars like that. Sandor said Jimmy Dore has a video showing the roof and where the agents were right next to it. Deep State wanted to take out DJT. Yeah, they have they were supposed to be in the window, and you could throw a rock. You could throw a rock at where Crooks was sitting. Indeed, she was the border czar. Shout out to Brandon Murphy. Welcome to the party. So the more Dems keep talking, the more they're exposing themselves even more. That's why, hey, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Let them expose themselves. Welcome to the party.
Soviet Union. I mean, this is a
a
free and transparent country owned by its own citizens.
Ever go on here? I mean,
so you sort of,
that's a crazy other thing.
But what's so bewildering to me is that nobody mentions it. I mean, I
go look at the media right now. If Wired.com, it's a conspiracy theory to say that this was a coup. There's this whole hagiography that's going on right now.
Hagiography? What the hell is hagiography? Hagiography. Hagiography. The writing of the lives of saints. Okay. Learn something new every day. Learn something new every single day. Hey, shout out to Garrett Grant. Welcome to the party. Coming in hot, gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you, sir. If any of you are not already members of the Discord, or you are not, if you don't have full access, if you were just gifted a membership, hit up the Discord server. I'll drop the link here again, and send me a DM, because you now have access to the full server, including the after party. Thank you so much, Garrett Grant. Very, very, very much appreciated. Do we miss anything here? Yeah, so Jess, I never heard of the border czar. That makes her seem like she did something, or that she was supposed to do something. So now that you hear all of this media, we just saw that all different channels and outlets and everybody was saying border czar. And now they're trying to erase it. They think you are that dumb that you don't know how to use Google. That somebody won't be like, hey, I'm pretty sure, even if you didn't hear it, I'm sure somebody else that you know would have heard it. And they're just gonna lie. As they always do. There's another word I don't know. Pesky praetorians? unless you spelled it wrong. Praetorians. Oh, video game reference, I guess. All right, I'll leave that to you guys. Thank you again to Garrett Grant. Sandor said the borders are sharp and engaged, have everybody's interest at heart. They're saving democracy by not even having America vote for a nominee. You can't make this shit up. Harley said, I don't know why they called her that to begin with. She was only assigned to 3 regions and only had so much power to deal with, which wasn't much. And I will agree that she definitely was set up in the sense that there was no way that she would be able to do anything meaningful with the border, with with what they gave her. So not very good. Okay, so what do we got here? The Praetorian Guard was an elite unit of Imperial Roman army that served as personal bodyguards and intelligence agents for the Roman emperors. There you go. All right. We are learning a lot. Word up. All right. Thank you. Let's dive right back in.
Conspiracy theory to say that this was a coup. There's this whole hagiography that's going on right now of, it was this tense decision that Biden was grappling with.
But we don't know any of that.
Oh, of course we do. We've been informed by people close to his thinking that this is exactly how it went down. And of course, none of us were in the room. None of us got to see any of this, but we're all told, no, this is exactly what happened. Joe Biden isn't out there himself telling us any of it's happened. And as of the time of recording, we haven't even heard from Kamala Harris yet, who...
Thank you again, Garrett.
We're told there isn't anything physically wrong with her. So why isn't Kamala coming out, or Jill coming out, or anyone coming out and just talking to the American people and at least giving us some semblance of a story as to what's going on?
As someone who...
And instead, we got 15 minutes of that was probably pre-recorded.
Who's thought for the last few years that this was not a democracy, it's an oligarchy. The real business conducted in the shadows, shielded from public scrutiny by lies and classification laws. I've thought all that for a while because it's clearly true. But to see that all revealed, they just took the mask off.
So what
is shocking.
What you're seeing is a layer being pulled back. And the core is never revealed. So in the intelligence community, you would say, all right, if your cover is blown, or you've got an issue with your cover, you've got an issue with your identity, whatever it is, someone's asking questions about the operation, you never come out and say, well, you got me, I'm CIA, yep, Langley sent me. No, what you would do is that you would peel back a layer and say, okay, I may have lied about this thing, but here's what's really going on. But you never get to the full truth. So think of
so if you're caught and your cover is quote unquote blown, then you could be like, okay, all right, you caught me. This is really what's going on, which is just a small aspect of what's really going on. And now they trust. They're like, oh, well, he told me the truth. Now I got him. I caught him and he's messed up. Smart. And I didn't mention this earlier, but if you're not familiar, this is Jack Posobiec. He's pretty active on Twitter, X, whatever, on Tim Pool all the time. And just seems to be very much at the forefront of the culture war, among other things. And then, of course, if you want to watch this without my commentary, the link is in the description below. Harley said she wasn't in charge of the U.S. border. She was in charge of dealing with migration from regions in South America. So the way all of this has been worded is very misleading, and they want to undo it. Well, FAFO. They tried to bolster her personality, what's the word I'm looking for? Just bolster her name as, oh, well, she's the border czar. Because remember, she got no votes, and then she became the VP, and so they're trying to dodge the DEI thing. And so I was like, no, we she's a prosecutor, so we brought her in for this. Makes total sense, right? And it doesn't not make sense. But then again, when you get into the details of like, okay, what exactly did she have control over? What exactly was she supposed to do? And then now it's like, well, of course everybody's mad at it. Don't get mad at us because you brought up this this border czar thing when it didn't ever mean anything. Don't say when they say democracy, they mean bureaucracy. Yep. And when they say our democracy, they mean their democracy, not us included. Harley said they already lied and confused everybody. So people who didn't look deeper into it had no idea what was actually going on. This is why you have to be very careful with the media. Indeed. And that's, again, why we, try to stay on top of everything, because it switches so fast.
layer and say, okay, I may have lied about this thing, but here's what's really going on. But you never get to the full truth. So think of it as layers of an onion, for example. So you never get to the core. Just
layers.
One peel comes off, and now we're going to go with that. So the peel that's coming off right now is, yes, Leviathan does have to show itself in order for this move to take place, and that's what's happening. So this idea that you live in that they promote a lot more than Republicans promote, by the way, that we live in a democracy and the people are the ultimate arbiters of sovereignty and justice in America.
Are they though?
And we're fighting to protect our democracy. By the way, we're protecting our democracy from Donald Trump, who's the biggest threat to democracy.
Is he though?
But this guy, well, we don't like him anymore, so we're just going to remove him, and we're going to pull his money, and we're going to pull his delegates. And then actually, to me, the most interesting thing that I see is when you watch all these delegates, all these delegations are coming out now. North Carolina has decided they're behind Kamala Harris, and New York says they're behind Kamala Harris, and each delegation starts going. This is like watching the election results in North Korea. Because
and didn't she just what was I just watching where she said we have a great alliance with North Korea? It's like, I think you mean South Korea. Shout out to Jerry Singleton. Welcome to the party. So promotion of a flawed anything is called astroturfing, and they sure as shit did that to Kamala. Welcome to the party.
And each delegation starts.
Let's see if I can find that.
This is like watching the election results in North Korea. Because what do you mean the delegates are suddenly for Kamala Harris? The delegates were voted for by the people of the Democrat Party. Like 14 million people or something voted in this election.
Okay, I think I found it. Okay, here we go. So this is from today.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring. So the United States...
Stupid. Whoopsies! Idiot. Yeah, South Korea. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, relations with North Korea are better than they have been in the past because of the fact that Donald Trump went across the DMZ. But not quite allies.
The delegates were voted for by the people of the Democrat Party. Like 14 million people or something voted in this election. And suddenly their votes don't matter anymore.
It does seem like we're at a point where all of a sudden it happened fast. We're beyond words and rhetoric, beyond politics, beyond process even. And we're dealing with people who are absolutely willing to kill other people for power. Like that's real. Of
course.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's Kamala.
And to stage a coup against an elected president who supposedly got 15 million more votes than any president in history.
Where are all the
supposedly? You are not going to get me to believe that more people voted for Joe Biden than voted for Obama. No.
Coup against an elected president who supposedly got 15 million more votes than any president in history.
Where are all the Biden voters?
But it's like nobody even cares about all that stuff. None of that was ever real. Now they're admitting it's not real. And it's just the people with the guns are in charge. It does feel that way.
It's 100% true. And this is, look, we have the book about it. And when you have an oligarchy that is pushed up against the wall, which by the way, they are right now.
Does anybody not know what oligarchy means?
And it's a dangerous point, but also they would not be doing this if they didn't have to. If they didn't have to go up against Trump, if the assassin's bullet had been 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch to the right, and things had gone a little bit differently in that field in Butler, Pennsylvania, then
I think it bears repeating damn near every time it comes up about how close that actually was, how close we were to being in an entirely different world. An entirely different world. I think he actually brings it up where we very easily could have seen a Kamala Haley race. Think about that. God damn. Shout out to Indy Boom. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya. What's a type of bird? I don't know. Did I say something about a bird? I forgot. I apologize. But welcome to the party. They're protecting their forms of democracy. Yep. Indeed. Yeah. 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch, 1/4 inch to the right. and things had gone a little bit differently in that field in Butler, Pennsylvania, then they wouldn't be having to make these moves, because then it would be, oh my gosh, this horrible thing, but we're gonna trudge on. The election must go on. America must be safe. Joe Biden is the guy, the stable candidate. And you'd be hearing the exact opposite from all of them. They'd be talking about how great Biden is presiding over the funeral of Donald Trump, and maybe give him a state funeral or something like that to sort of, appease the right, but of course never actually give.
But I wonder if we'll remember what we're learning right now, which is that everything that Joe Scarborough and Wolf Blitzer and Margaret Brennan or, all these people, it's all lies. They'll say anything they need to say.
Well, we will remember the same reason we are able to pull up things like the TikTok I just did, where it's comparing back and forth. We will remember, maybe not us specifically, the 10, 15 people that are here right now, but collectively, yes, we will remember, because we've learned to or how blatant they will lie and try to erase the past. And so that's why that compilation exists. So no, I don't think so. Just Talk TV said, I think he missed on purpose. I think he just wanted to scare people. How did he miss 5 times? I know so very, very little about guns, but just to suggest that somebody could get that close and on purpose and not kill him on purpose, that is not a thing. That is not a thing. That's like in the movies. You do not have control, even at 150 yards. You do not have that kind of control over a bullet. I mean, please, somebody tell me, somebody who knows more about guns than I do, tell me if I'm wrong. But that is not even a theory that can get off the ground, because you just couldn't, you wouldn't have that control. Am I wrong? Anybody? Shout out to Indie Film.
All these people, it's all lies. They'll say anything they need to say. The Democratic Party is not democratic in any sense. Its voters are purely puppets. So are its politicians. It's all fake. Mm-hmm. And that maybe we should just never forget that and say it out loud. None of this means anything. You're yapping about democracy, of rule of law and order. It's all fake. You're totalitarians. You'll kill people who get in your way. You can never have power. And the rest of us should be prepared to make actual sacrifices to prevent you from getting power, because we're going to become a totalitarian state if you do. I mean, those seem like the obvious lessons to me.
The final goal here is the deconstruction of American elections.
Of course.
And the idea that, so 2016, if you look at it through the Unhumans playbook, the Unhumans lens, the filter, is that, these people have taken control and have been in control for, we could debate exactly when the control point took place.
November of 63, probably.
That's a pretty good date.
Yeah, that just seems like an obvious one.
Kind of just pull it out of
yeah.
And so the idea then is that since that's taken over, the national security state has taken over in league with the oligarchs, et cetera, that every president since then has either had to come directly from there, like George H.W. Bush, who was the director of CIA before he became president, or been at least acquiescent to their whims and going along with their wars, going along with whatever it is that the plan is for the empire.
So, any film says easy to miss a basketball at 150 yards, especially after the first shot. So, yeah, again, I mean, I've never shot a gun, so I'm just going off other people's experiences. But it's not like the movies where you can, be that accurate. And then just said, I thought the purpose of a sniper was accuracy. Plus, he had 5 minutes to get in position before he started. But he was not a sniper. He had a regular AR-15 rifle. That's not the Secret Service had snipers. He just had a regular old rifle. So I mean, I don't know if we have details on what kind of scope he had or anything. But he was using the rangefinder. So again, very ignorant to how this all works. But it does stand to reason. Again, I could be completely wrong about this. But if he's using a rangefinder, then that does seem to speak to, well, the scope on the gun itself might not have the capability to be as accurate. Again, I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but the notion that, especially at 20 years old, I mean, maybe, but that's just not a realistic that's not a realistic thing. It's just as realistic to say that Trump actually set up the shooter. And he had somebody get the shooter to be up there and try to kill him, but he actually dodged the bullet. That is as reasonable. I think. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just the notion that this is like when people say, "Well, why didn't they just shoot the gun out of his hand?" Or why did they shoot him in the leg? Because you don't have that kind of accuracy. Harley said he missed his first shot and panicked, so he started to fire randomly to take out as much as he could before he died. And then let's also remember that right before he started shooting, the cop, the local PD, got up on the roof and saw him, and so he moved the barrel. So he might have had Trump right in the scope, but then he moved the piece to go after the cop that popped his head up. So once he goes back, now we're just going back and forth. And no, I mean, it's a great shot. It's just that's the level of accuracy. If Donald Trump, that's the whole point. He did not have a trash gun. He was not a trash shot. He was on point. He hit it on accuracy. It's just the matter of the fact that Trump moved his head. That's it. That's it. There was there's nothing better that he could have done. He executed that perfectly in search of his goal. There is not one thing he could have done better, except for predict that Trump was going to move his head. Any Film said he heard he was using a red dot scope, which is not a magnified one. So yeah, not a sniper. And so you're correct that a sniper is for accuracy. But now we're talking about, like, okay, if you have a sniper scope where you can magnify everything, then if you're a mile away, then yeah, maybe a great sniper might still be able to hit a shot at a mile away. But there's a lot more to factor in. And if you don't know how to factor in the wind and the pull and the direction of the bullet and all that kind of stuff, it's just not something it's not. And again, anything is possible. It is possible that we got the best 20-year-old shooter in the world, and without a magnified scope, the plan was, okay, you shoot me in the head, and I'm going to turn my head and make sure that you don't blow my brains out on national TV. I don't know for sure that's not the case, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Jerry said there's audio and visual truth of being 5 shooters. Legally Armed American YouTube channel has about 18 videos with new evidence every video. The evidence is believed to have resigned so quick. I don't know what that last sentence means. But yeah, I guess shout out to Legally Armed America. Check them out. Thomas Oswald Crooks was a patsy and is showing he never fired a shot. Wow, interesting. And yeah, Sam is saying, yeah, even the weather, a slight breeze, all that stuff. So that was the first thing that a lot of people were saying, because it did seem like just too perfect. He did get shot, but only in the ear, and then, Secret Service didn't do their job. He was able to get the picture. The flag was there. The photographer shouldn't have been able to be that close. All of those things. But the possibility that it was planned to shoot Trump and miss at that spot is the most unrealistic aspect or theory, in my personal opinion.
Acquiescent to their whims and going along with their wars, going along with whatever it is that the plan is for the empire. And then 2016 happens like by accident.
Yo, there's a dude on TikTok who, like, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I don't know the actual, like, I wouldn't be able to articulate what exactly the theory is and why it all fits, but there's so much. There's so much. It's crazy. If you haven't heard anything about the Trump time travel theory, take some time, check it out. It is interesting.
Where it is that the plan is for the empire. And then 2016 happens like by accident. And because, who would have thought this guy could come in and take over? And so you have this problem. You're trying to get him out of office the entire time. You're trying to, like, bat him down, kick him off the beachhead and get it. But at the same time, you're also infiltrating and you're going through the administration. You're planning your people in to at least subvert as much as possible. So then you get people like Pompeo and people like Bolton get in.
So we have, yes, another line of propaganda. So it was Christopher Wray, who the leader of the FBI, who was saying in his hearing that we don't know for sure, but there's no evidence that that anything got shattered. That that's made up. There's no teleprompter that got shattered. And then we can see again the trajectory of the bullet in the picture. You can see that it's behind him. So yeah. And don't get me wrong, Jess. I'm not I'm not throwing shade at you. I'm just, as there's lots going around, this is exactly what they want. They want confusion and chaos and all that stuff. Yeah, in his hearing. And that's a bit that speaks to why a lot of people are upset with, despite being fans of Trump, very upset with the way that he did his first term, because guess who hired Christopher Wray? Donald Trump. Sam said it's been debunked. They have photos of the teleprompters he used. Neither were damaged. Yep. Just straight up lies. And there was there was some other case. I was watching a Tim Pool video, and he brought up he made out the point that there was another aspect of whether there like how many shooters or like some important detail that Ray did not know, and then he was able to say no, it was definitely the shrapnel. It's all just pushing a narrative, because the notion of Trump got shot is the stick-to-itiveness of that idea is much bigger than Trump got shot at and he didn't get shot, but one thing got shattered and he got a thing on his ear. That kind of like downplays it a little bit, and so that's exactly what they want. And again, no shade to you at all. We are all kind of scrambling for information here, so no shade to you at all. But it is important that when we do hear things, and thank you for asking the questions. I'm sure a lot of other people have heard these things as well. So yeah, it's definitely important to put these things out there and to discuss them and say, hey, I heard this. I don't know if it's true. What do you guys think? So I love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go down the whole road of the overabundance of religious language here. I'll let you have that one. Shout out to Mind Delusion over on Twitch. Welcome to the party. Indeed, I do. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and just like right now, whenever I feel like it. Said, keep it going. Indeed, I will. Just for you, Mind Delusion. Dilly to you. Sam said, nearly was I'm not mad at you. So yeah, we are just talking it out. So feel free if there's any other stuff that you heard, feel free to let it out here. This is a safe space. I might get a little animated, but I love you. All right, welcome to the party, Mind Delusion.
You're planning your people in to at least subvert as much as possible, so then you get people like Pompeo and people like Bolton get in. So they're trying to run a couple of regime change ups in like Venezuela, or doing different things in the Gulf, for example. And so, but it never really goes anywhere, because at the end of the day, he's still not one of yours. So then you get rid of him in 2020. Then finally, you have the opportunity to take another bite at the apple. Somehow the lawfare doesn't work. Somehow all of these things don't work. You always know that you have a nuclear option in a situation like that. And the nuclear option is like November 1963.
Yeah, just murder the guy.
But you wouldn't want to do that first.
Jack's like trying to be subtle about it, and Doug's like, yeah, just murder the motherfucker. Just murder the motherfucker. Not such a miracle if he already knew. Yeah, I like that one. Sam, that's a good one. Retardy Oswald. I love it.
It's like November 1963.
Yeah, just murder the guy.
But you wouldn't want to do that first. And this was something that the East Berliners understood, and the Stasi understood, that you can just you can assassinate someone's personality.
Yeah,
then that's so much easier than just actually killing them, because then you might
break their spirit. Yeah,
but they tried and they failed.
You might turn them into a martyr, but you break their spirit. Maybe, if you're lucky, they commit suicide, or at least they just stay out of public view for forever. This is what was done to dissidents and opposition in East Germany for years. And this is what they understood. This is why they didn't have to go full great purges of Stalin. Once the 1970s rolled around, now you're starting to get mass media, you're starting to get television, all these tools start to be used. And so you destroy someone's reputation with that. But then social media comes around. In social media, you don't have those tools anymore, and suddenly you don't have control of the narrative.
I can't imagine that the deep state, let's say the CIA and FBI just specifically, have the biggest problem since the inception of these organizations is the democratization of information with the internet. and more specifically, social media. They have to hate it. Jez, I'm telling you, give it a Google. Give it a Google. If you're on TikTok, TikTok's the place to search Donald Trump time travel theory. It's crazy, but no more crazy than believing in a man in the sky. Just saying. Mind Delusion said the worst kind of self-deletion is with 2 bullets to the head. R.I.P. in peace. Fair enough. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. Coming in hot with the $2 super chat. Thank you. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for my co-host, Morty. Thank you, sir. And welcome to the party. It is good to see ya. We also got Marjorie Wolcott in the building. So Trump needs the Pope Mobile for public appearances. Yeah, that would be good. Just give him the, all glass and give him a microphone, but, bulletproof glass. And we are good. Oh, my goodness. Just Talk TV. Thank you. Again with a $2 super chat. Thank you. So very, very much. Anything that you guys can contribute really, really does help. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate. Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. I can do my own. I'll censor what I need to censor. You good. All right, diving back in here. Thank you again very, very much, guys.
Social media, you don't have those tools anymore, and suddenly you don't have control of the narrative. The narrative gets lost to you. So through social media, suddenly people can connect and say, "Hey, have you noticed this thing? I noticed that thing. Did you notice that? I noticed that thing." But the media doesn't seem to be talking about this, and yet when you could say, "Wait a minute, I'm here. I can see it. This is actually happening in front of my eyes. Here's a video of it. Oh, by the way, and I can show you what's going on in real time through live streams, et cetera, et cetera." And so this becomes a massive, massive problem. And so all you're left with at that point, so you lose soft power. So the oligarchs lose soft power, the machine loses soft power. Right. And so they have to go back. What do we have left? We have hard power.
Persuasion doesn't work.
Persuasion isn't working. You go force. So force is you might.
So TV saying I disagree with Jack that they have control over social media platforms as they develop them. I wonder if that's the case. Do you is that something that you know specifically, like from the Twitter files? Because it seems to me like they didn't necessarily know what to expect with social media, and it kind of got out ahead of them. And then eventually, they got their grubby little hands in it. But were they in cahoots the whole time? I don't know. Largely through debt. Makes sense. I would be curious as to when we would really see any kind of influence from the deep state on the social media platforms. I'm sure it's a lot earlier than what we would expect. But interesting. What I don't know what that is. What's Oni on two? Oni? What's Oni? Naval intelligence? I know he was. I don't know. You'll tell me. All right. Let's diving back in.
We have left. We have hard power.
Persuasion doesn't work.
Persuasion isn't working. You go force. So force is you might, I don't know, raid somebody's home, and you might say that there are some documents there that they shouldn't have, and then handcuffs, then convictions.
I'm surprised we didn't get a perp walk. With Trump. See, I was right there. I knew he was. I knew Jack was in the military. I didn't know which branch, but then when I saw naval intelligence, I mean, so what are you implying here then? What are you implying about Jack? Mind Delusion said, quote, January 1st, 1983 is considered the official birthday of the internet from Wiki. Of course they control stuff. In 83. I mean, yeah, of course they control stuff, but I'm just curious as to, because the question is whether or not they had the foresight to see what social media was going to become. And I maybe naively don't think so. but I could definitely be wrong. Oh yeah, the DARPA. See, these are, I remember. I forgot what that is. DARPA. Okay, right. Whoa, what are you doing here, pal? Yeah, I mean, in terms of having information, they definitely have endless amounts of information. But the influence is what I'm curious about. I'm curious as to what point in time did the CIA, the FBI, the whatever agency, when were they really using that power? Because they were definitely watching what was going on and keeping tabs on what's going on. But I don't know. TV Viewerski said Oni is clearly the best. However, they blur with other agencies such as CIA. So you're saying he's a plant? Is he a plant? Maybe. Mind Delusion said, I think so. At least they could predict it. With AI, they are sure. Indeed, they are. Yeah, that's the scary one.
There that they shouldn't have, and then handcuffs, then convictions. But if that doesn't work, the nuclear option of November 1963 is always on the table.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, Tucker. Hypothetically.
Well, I think we just saw it. I do think that.
In
I
a
don't want to
video
think
game.
that, but at all, it's the last thing I want to think. But let's just move back.
But I will also say,
I still think that this was not from the top. Obviously, I don't have any more information than you guys do, so this is all speculation. But it does seem like this is a smaller operation. It does seem like if things were, it just doesn't make sense. I get that, Hamlin's razor. You got to think that even though they're, the U.S. Deep state intelligence, that they can still be incompetent. But like that was the plan. Have a 20-year-old bring a rifle and a ladder into like. It can't be. It can't be. They have to be able to come up with better plans than that. This has to be something that that either a smaller group of people wanted, meaning not like the entire entity, the entire establishment, or I don't know, like what? How can that be the final plan? Like, yep, Crooks is the one. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Hey, shout out to Mind Delusion for the sub. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Think that, but at all, it's the last thing I want to think. But let's just move back.
But I will say this, that Leviathan would not be revealing itself right now if it didn't have to. If they had total control of the election process, total control of the general election, if they could just say flip a switch and put whoever they wanted in office, they would just do that. You would not see any of these extreme measures being reached to if they could just flip the switch.
Yeah, and so Harley says, or he was the distraction, and that also speaks to the shadowy figure that we've seen of the seemingly person on top of the water tower, and that similar to what's his face, the grassy knoll, the lone shooter, where it's like, was he though? And it does make sense that if you were going to have somebody have a assassination at that spot, that you would be on the water tower. So I'm open to that as well, very, very much.
So there's a problem. Something's broken down. Something is going wrong, because I think what they're really terrified of is a revolt of the people.
Yeah, and I think they've got a lot of internal conflict too.
Yes.
I mean, it's not clear to me. I think Obama has more power than Hillary Clinton in the Democratic Party, but I'm not certain of that. But
I would agree with that, and that is why the Obama endorsement is being held up and not just being thrown away, because a Joe Biden endorsement, I mean, what does it really mean? But the Obamas. But yeah, Marjorie's bringing up the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping thing, and that was straight from the FBI. It just really, it's like, is that the best you can do? And maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I'm so skeptical. TV said, allegedly, Crooks had an FBI email address from 2020. I've not confirmed this yet. So again, just put another thing to put on the board of what the hell is going on. Mind Delusions said, forget the quote control of the population through propaganda. How much money was made with the attempt? Some little bird told me at least 1 billion in shorts. But the internet worldwide shut down. So many coincidences. Yeah, didn't they short DJT by like a lot? Yeah, I mean, clearly this wasn't just some lone guy. That much is clear. If you think it was just some dude who was just acting alone, that's kind of silly. How the turntables turn.
He's got the money on his side. So the Clintons have always had name, but they've never had money.
Right.
And so that's why they're obsessed with money. That's why they do the Clinton Foundation. That's why Viktor Pinchuk and the Ukrainian oligarchs become the number one for the Clinton Foundation, et cetera, because they have to. Obama, he's got 50 million here. He's got 150 million there. He's taken care of. He's spoken for, which, by the way, is also one of the reasons that that you don't really see Michelle Obama making any moves to getting into the presidency, because all of a sudden you'd have to explain where the money's coming from.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, because everybody's saying, "Oh, well, Michelle just doesn't want to do it." But that makes a lot of sense, where it's like, okay, you're opened up by a lot when you're in the political world, and especially if you've been through that, you've made your legacy, and you're out, and you're by and large clean. Stay out while you're ahead.
That's exactly right, and that'd be a massive downgrade for her anyway. So
imagine that being the president would be a downgrade. But it really would. A lot more work and a lot less, let's say, leisure time than the life she's living now.
What happens next?
That's the $1 million question, right?
Somebody resigns on his behalf in any case, or this post appears on X, but he does not endorse anybody. And that's followed shortly by his endorsement of Kamala Harris, Carmela, or whatever we're calling her.
and endorsement attributed to him.
Right. Exactly. Well, exactly right. So does she get it? Like, where do we go from here?
So there's a few ways to look at it.
Wait, when he said, did she get it? Was he talking about
an endorsement attributed to him?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's talking about the get it, meaning the nomination, or getting it, meaning the money tied to the Biden-Harris campaign. So Donald Trump has a lawsuit that, Biden was the presumptive nominee. And so the campaign for Biden, you can't just give that money away to somebody else, even if it's your VP. Then, like, if I donated to Tucker Carlson, who's running for office, and then he's like, actually, I'm gonna go with Harry Sisson, and all your money now that you gave to me is going to Harry Sisson. It's like, I don't think so. And it makes sense. I mean, it really shows how this is really set up as an establishment, and then it's not like Biden, and now it's Harris. It's just another name in the Democratic spot. Just another name. Harley said either Trump didn't pick JD and he's a plant, or Trump made a costly decision in picking him. Okay. Hot take. Explain yourself. Explain. TV said the shorting may be BS. There was also a glaring price issue with Exchange that hosted the security. They showed DJT at $15,000 per share, and they also filed an amendment, 13F. What is? I don't know what the 13F means. So yeah, talk to me. What don't you like about JD Vance? I mean, there's a lot there. He's on the list of people who have called Trump Hitler. He was a never Trumper, but I don't think I ever called Trump Hitler, but I was definitely a never Trumper. So I definitely believe people can change. Did he is another question, but I don't think that's disqualifying. But yeah, talk to me. Hey, shout out to Nick Luchetti in the building. Welcome to the party. Said I hit the like button on the way in. Didn't everyone forget? I hope everyone is doing amazing. I hope you are as well, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, if you have not joined the Discord server, Nick just dropped that link. Please join it. It is free, and we are building something. Mind Delusion said, imagine being at war, and Tucker Carlson is the only one you're able to speak with. The WF is powerful, definitely. I mean, so being at war, and Tucker Carlson is the only one you're able to speak with. I mean, there's definitely worse people. There's definitely worse people. I'd rather Tucker than Kamala. I mean, damn. Just a gut feeling. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll again put that on the wall. Put that on the wall. There's a gut feeling. We all, I think we all. I'll speak for myself. I definitely had a gut feeling about Vivek early on because I was like, he's just too good to be true, and that other shoe never dropped. So you definitely want to pay attention to your gut, but you don't want to be driven by your emotions. So again, we'll put a pin in that and see if you're right.
Of Kamala Harris, Carmela, or whatever we're calling her now,
and an endorsement attributed to him.
Right. Exactly. Well, exactly right. So does she get it? Like, where do we go from here?
So there's a few ways to look at it. Ultimately, here's where we go, because this is what we've seen play out in Russia. We've seen it played out in the Soviet Union. So it's like we have to do Kremlinology. Remember the old Kremlinology of the Cold War?
Kremlinology.
That's what we have to do for our own government.
Is Andropov dead or not?
Yeah, is Andropov dead? Is Stalin dead? Is this? Don't tell the people until we have a line of succession, right? First scene of death of Stalin.
Yeah.
And so, quick, grab his Twitter account, something like that.
Yeah.
And so what you would then do next is you would talk about line of succession. And then you might say, create a series of articles talking about conversations that were had before the handover was taken. You might say, leak some stories. You might have someone running around, but you would never actually have Jill Biden, because she's too upset and she's too angry about what's going on. That's why they can't talk to her. You'd never have Joe Biden, because of course he's not 100% on board with this, at least yet. We have ways of correcting you, and he's still kind of going through that process. None of the family members would at that point, other than Frank, of course, who's coming out and going completely off script here.
The drunk uncle, yeah.
So, and then you've got to smear, okay, he's drunk uncle, he's alcoholic, don't listen to him, don't listen to that, only listen to us. You must only listen to us. So narrative control already. And what you're going to see is whoever is the most ruthless, the most brutal, the most well-connected, and whoever's most willing to knife each other in the back will rise to power. So this is
Clinton's coming. Clinton's coming. So Harley says JD Vance was a stark opposer to Trump for years. He's associated with Project 2025, something Trump wants to distance himself from. He's a liar about his childhood and past, and he does not believe in democracy. There's a list of problems with him that the right and left don't like about him. He opposes everything Trump wants, so why would he be the pick? So, as from what I've seen, he's gone through a shift that a lot of us have. Again, is it legitimate? I'm not speaking to that, but to what's been out there is that yes, I was somebody who thought that Trump couldn't do this and so on and so forth, and then overseeing his works, that I was changed. And so if we're saying that he is gonna be like a spoiler, like he's a plant, and the Democratic establishment somehow got him in there, then the question is what is he going to be able to do as VP to hurt Trump? Yeah, not saying that he can't, just what are those things? TV said the devil is a part-timer. Great anime. Well, how we feel about anime over here. Just kidding. Relax. Ones and Foes said the Bidens were such a mess to elect into office. That's what happens when you go complete identity politics and turn everything into the most extreme thing ever. That's what happens. Look where it got us. Biden voters, are ya happy? Are ya happy? TV said picking someone to be VT is also a way to sideline them. Interesting. That's a great point. So maybe it's because again, if it was the case that not that Trump is by any means immune to surrounding himself with the wrong people, I think that if the fact that he didn't like Trump was the main issue, Like, that's not a secret. Trump and anybody around Trump would have been like, hey, this guy called you Hitler 8 years ago. So I would, like, that obviously came up. They obviously discussed that. And whatever came of that, I'm in the position of trusting Trump's judgment until I see a reason otherwise. So he picked JD Vance for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I've definitely seen the attack ads on Trump from JD Vance from the 2016 era, but I'm putting my trust in Trump for the time being. Marjorie said, my neighbor said Kamala means devil in Hindi. Not surprised. Not surprised. Mind Delusion said, gut feelings or not, it's not us speaking in chat that have the power to change anything. Why do they fear speaking truthfully, whether for good or bad? Is there something beyond them? God, perchance, perhaps. Let's say maybe. I happen to be an atheist, but I'm open. We'll see. Yeah, right. All right, diving back in.
And whoever's most willing to knife each other in the back will rise to power. So we're in the Ouroboros snake eating his own tail moment that's going on right now. But keep in mind that another snake is always around and another snake is always nearby.
So the operative assumption for people like me who are, watching, but not Democrats and maybe not as informed about what the Democratic Party really is as we should be, is that, they have to go with Kamala because she's sort of black, sort of Indian, and a woman.
Sort of black, sort of Indian, and a woman.
For DEI reasons.
It's tough for them to pass her over because of that.
Well, you would think that. I mean, that's my read on it. I mean, she's a moron in a job she doesn't deserve. That's the whole point of DEI, is to elevate people who don't deserve their jobs to positions of power, obviously.
Yep.
And that they have to kind of roll with that because the constituencies within the party will flip out if they don't pick her. I've just assumed that from day one. That's why she's such a problem.
Well,
but now I'm starting to think,
2020, she was never the original pick to begin with.
Oh, I'm aware. Yeah.
Right? This is everything you're describing is why she was picked then, because in the George Floyd moment during the racial reckoning, as a sailor puts it, that, he wanted like Klobuchar, or he was even talking about Gretchen Whitmer back then in 2020. But then George Floyd happens, they go full BLM, and suddenly it's okay. We've got to pick someone that, checks all these boxes.
For sure. And I thought that was, a mistake in that it puts them in a box.
You think?
That it's hard to get out of. But now I'm thinking, because I think we've just watched like the most brutal exercise of raw, undisguised power I've ever.
Oh, Morty just farted and it smells so bad. He's right on my lap. Oh, God. Oh, man. Morty, you all right, bro? God damn. Yeah, good point. He's definitely not, he's not voting in the Senate if he's a VP, and if Vivek gets the seat, then we're in a good spot. That's an interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that now I'm convinced that is the reason, but it is definitely a good point. Harley said no, it does not. Come on. Oh, okay. I thought this was referring to the sidelining. So this is to the Hindi. Kamala means lotus flower. Kamala is also the name of a goddess of wealth. I don't think your neighbor knows Hindi. I don't. So, I mean, same boat.
I've just watched like the most brutal exercise of raw, undisguised power I've ever seen in this country. That they're not hemmed in by that. Like, they really don't care. They don't care what their own constituencies think. They can just install somebody. And because the Democratic Party is not an ideological movement, it's just a bunch of people clustered together for power.
Leftism is not ideological.
That's exactly right.
It's never been. It's a tactic.
Right. And
leftism is not an ideology. It's a tactic. It's a tactic. It's a power grab. An ideology has tenets and things that you believe in, and principles and values and things like that. Leftism doesn't. Mind Delusion said, does it really matter to vote when there's young leaders of America ready to take over all elections? So I will say yes. I think that if they are going, like, they can try to mess with the numbers and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the more people that vote, the harder it is to obfuscate the reality. So is it very easy for them to lose your vote? Or on the flip side, to get dead people voting against who you want to vote for? Yes, but by not voting, all it does is is instead of maybe losing to underhanded tactics, then you're just giving up. And so I'm totally with you, but I cannot say that it doesn't matter to vote because it clearly does. It clearly does. Imagine if every Trump voter stayed home and Biden got 81 million votes or whatever it was, and Trump got none. That would change the landscape, and we would not be talking about Trump running again. So I mean, it's not as directive power as we might want as individuals, but because there's so many individuals that are not aligned with us, then we need to spread that out, and that's the Democratic part of the Democratic Republic. So I'm gonna grab these quick, and then I'll shout you two out. I say ya. But we got Stephen Colbert Cheese in the building. Welcome to the party. Asking what made me go from a Trump skeptic to a Trump supporter. So long story short, I just realized I was being lied to. I didn't know a lot about politics. I was a Bernie bro. The DNC screwed him over and made me feel like if I didn't vote for Hillary, the world would end. And I listened and I followed and I saw that they were lying. And once I started paying attention to the truth, it was very easy. It's very, very easy. Mind Illusion said, what tactics does the population, which is under constant propaganda, have? The constant propaganda is the tactic. What you mean? So shout out to Unwanted Foe, another communion time, $2 super chat. Thank you, love you long time. There we go, good puppy. And then of course, our sponsor, out sponsoring himself, the Funk Master General, with another tenor. Let's give him a bigger one than that. Look at that. That's a nice blocky one. There you go. Eat it up. There we go. Thank you so very much. And we got Harley Rose. Said, Morty, eat this if you didn't fart. Okay, you hear that? If you didn't fart, then eat this. Okay, ready? Damn it, I muted and told him to leave it. And I muted myself and I was like, leave it. And he did fart, I swear. Why would I stop the show and be like, hey guys, I farted? Oh man, thank you guys so very, very much. I cannot explain how much I appreciate you guys. Open up your wallets. I know that you work very, very hard for your money, and to share it with me, I very, very, very much appreciate it. If anybody wants to go join our boy over on Twitch or Mind Exposed, if you want to join us over on YouTube, just drop the link there for you. All right. So we got our boy Funkmaster out sponsoring himself once again. Thank you so very, very much.
Power.
Leftism is not ideological.
That's exactly right.
It's never been. It's a tactic.
Right. And spiritual, I would say also, but whatever. Right. But it's certainly not ideological. It doesn't even matter what the ideas are. But at this point, they can kind of put anyone in. And if they think Gavin Newsom has the best shot and he's a white man, but like, so what?
Well, so this is the way that DEI.
But what do you think?
The way the DEI would reflect itself in a pure power system, in pure power politics system, is what constituencies can you bring to bear? Right. So the fact that she was able to get Clyburn on board is huge, because Clyburn gives you all of the vote processing centers and the inner city churches, right. And he's able to from Detroit to Milwaukee to Philadelphia to Atlanta. These are the key centers that you're going to need. This, of course, Clyburn, of course, is credited for putting Biden in office, and many people have cited his his endorsement of Biden as really being the deal that won Biden in the primary.
Yeah,
it clearly was. And so I've always said, and this is something where Steve Bannon and I have actually disagreed on this, where I've said I don't see how Gavin Newsom makes it out of Georgia. Interesting.
So yeah, if you want to join Mind Illusion over on Twitch, that is the link right there. And otherwise, other way around, Mind Illusion, if you want to join us over on YouTube, the link is also there. And as long as you are on YouTube, Twitch, or X, then all the chats will come up. Shout out to anybody on Rumble, Instagram, or Kick. Definitely say hello. Hey, we got Lucian Obscene over on Twitch. I think I know who that is. But welcome to the party. See, this is what now we raging. Let's do it.
I don't see how Gavin Newsom makes it out of Georgia. Just in a real primary situation. This whatever fake.
Well, of course, I agree with you completely. But for the purposes of the November election, maybe they don't have to pick Kamala.
Well, the issue is now, so that's why you're seeing this race. So the race that we're seeing now, which is a fake race, and everyone needs to understand that. Like this is why Obama doesn't endorse Kamala Harris.
This is why Obama will not endorse Kamala Harris. Not clickbait.
Which is a fake race, and everyone needs to understand that. Like this is why Obama doesn't endorse Kamala Harris. Obama doesn't come out and endorse Kamala Harris. He endorses the process.
Right.
Why? Because the process has no legitimacy, and nakedly we can see that it has no legitimacy. The delegations immediately flip at the flip of a switch.
Without even hearing from Biden.
There's no hearing. There's no hearing from Biden. Think about that. The delegates who are legally pledged to Biden, who were nominated through the legitimate, right? Their process, their official process, all of a sudden switch their delegations without even hearing from the guy that they're supposed to be tied to. No, this is obviously the raw sign of Leviathan. This is Leviathan's power. Leviathan comes in and says, "You don't work for Joe Biden. You work for me." And what they're using Obama for is to give some veneer of legitimacy and credibility to the process. So
Interesting.
There's an open. So he's saying there's an open process. I'm not endorsing. I'll endorse after the primary, which is what he did in 2020.
So there's no intention. Which I think what you're saying is Obama, when he endorses an open primary, which he's done, he knows there will not be an open. There's nothing open about this primary. It'll already be decided before Chicago.
Right. It's just to put out the illusion that like, hey, I'm one of the good guys. Okay, we should do primary. We'll give the people. Stephen Colbert, cheese said this isn't the night for me. Why is that? Why is that? We all have bad nights. I had not a great night last night, which is why I am down here in the studio with you guys. But we all have bad nights. So let's drink to that, and hopefully your night improves, sir. Nick says, everyone, please hit that like button. Yes, if you have not already done so, that would be amazing. Wonderful. So cracks in the giant political mask. Indeed. And that's the mask right there. It's a cracking and a showing. I need the analytics on YouTube. So I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying it, but because I'm watching Disinfo again. Okay, well, that'll be tomorrow. Philosophy Friday.
He knows there will not be an open. There's nothing open about this primary. It'll already be decided before Chicago opens.
And I think essentially that what you see here is that the money has all lined up behind Kamala. The money has said, look, we know
you're one of the good ones. But
we've got about 100 days left. We've got 4 weeks before the DNC. Also, you've got a huge accounting problem because you can't. The $300 million that's sitting in that what was the Biden-Harris account, which is now Harris for president. What are you just going to give that $300 million over to somebody? You've got to transfer all of this stuff. It's going to take a ton of time, and you can't.
Wait, what does this mean? Is the banner background is off from the banner text? I don't know what that means. Oh, like it's whatever. I mean, as long as you can see it. I don't know how to fix that.
You're just going to give that $300 million over to somebody. You've got to transfer all of this stuff. It's going to take a ton of time, and you can't do that without the acquiescence of, again, whoever's controlling Biden's signature right now. So it's just much easier on that level.
How can Biden remain president of the country?
Same way he's been president the whole time. It's not.
I mean, that's a
no.
really
I get what you're saying.
And not to digress once again, but at this point, does anyone doubt 2020 was rigged?
But I will say something has changed from 2020 to 2024. Obviously, COVID's not around anymore. There's been laws that have been placed on the books in those states. And he's just been in such a collapsed state. So with Biden as president, to answer your question, it doesn't make any sense. if you're not mentally well enough, which again, he has not stated. No one has stated this because it's all about polling. It's all about the issue of polling. That's
because his statement yesterday didn't explain why he's not running for president.
It would be best for the party and best for the country. Remember, he put party first.
I noticed.
Whoever put party first. So best for the party, best for the country for me to stand down.
That's an interesting observation. It's for the party and for the country, not for the country and the party, but for the party first and then the country. But he seems to have an issue with this stand down. I don't see the issue.
Stand down. I mean, stand down. If you're fighting for your country,
but why not just take? I mean, if you can prevent him from running again, you can prevent him from serving now. Why wouldn't they just take him out or kill him? They're certainly capable of that. I think it's fair to say.
It would honestly be okay. So let's say you'd say you're they, you're them, you're the
Democratic Party, and it's leaders. You're the money people in the Democratic Party.
You would want, honestly, and not to give them advice, but wouldn't you want Kamala Harris to have some power of the bully pulpit, power of some kind of record to her name, because whatever record she has, the only things that she was associated with in the administration, other than this wild series of interviews, are
the borders are
the border. And there was that country in Europe, and they were having some issues in 2020. Oh, Ukraine, right? They gave her Ukraine and said that Chica's the one who flies to the Munich conference in February of 2022 and says there is no question on my mind that Ukraine will definitely be in NATO. And
she caused the war in Ukraine,
so Putin invades like the next day.
Of course.
I didn't realize it was that direct. I did not realize it was a direct cause like that.
And they give that to her because there's been a shade war going on between Biden and Kamala from day one of this administration. It's
shade war.
We've been reporting out at Human Events. I think everyone sees it now. Conspiracy theory, right? But it's so obvious they hate each other. So they were giving her these obviously will fail assignments and say, great, pin it on her. But the problem is that's all backfired now because
they need her. But that is another interesting point that a lot of people, or rather a lot of administrations, because of the fact that the president and the vice president just ran against each other. Don't forget, Kamala was, ragging on Biden about being racist, and there's a girl that was bused to school, and that little girl was me, and da-da-da-da. So, again, it's all politics, it's all business, but that doesn't, she's not necessarily Biden's favorite person just because she was picked for VP. Which then goes to say, just because J.D. Vance was picked as a VP doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that Trump loves him.
Now, if they want her to be the one who's got any credibility, who's going to be signing off on things, they know she's a complete nut job. And so you put something like that in office, and she's going to be signing off on the proxy war with Russia. She's going to be signing off on the proxy war with Iran, perhaps the direct war with China. Who knows what comes next? This is someone who's totally unstable. So what it tells me is that they don't quite have all their hooks in. But one of the things that I'm hearing, Tucker, is that there are people in the Democrat donor base who are thinking like what I'm saying right now, that it doesn't make any sense for us to say she should be president when she could be president right now. That if she's this
why wouldn't she run as an incumbent? I've thought that since July 1st.
Wow. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that. The notion just to be able to say the incumbent president, that is so huge. And when you have so little to run on, then why wouldn't you step aside and let Kamala be the president so that she has that on her record? What else does she have? It's you always have to ask, like, how much are they whoever they is, how much are they trying to do what they seem like they're trying to do, and how much are they trying to make it seem like they're trying to do what it seems like they're trying to do? And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And we're doing this because they think that, but they think that because we want them to do this, and they do that over and over and over and round we go.
President right now. That if she's this
why wouldn't she run as
an
incumbent? I've thought that since July 1st when I talked to a very knowledgeable Democrat. Of course, take Biden out, make her president. She's running from the Oval Office. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
I did not even think of that.
The only thing I could think of is this perhaps was part of the deal they made with the Bidens. We'll let you run out the clock.
Yeah, but
at that point, like, for what? For what? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. My delusion. So when is Kamala going on Joe Rogan? Oh, I would pay for that. I would pay for that. But Joe's pretty big on like, oh, I don't want to help anybody. And so, you know, he wouldn't have, he said he, you know, like the RFK people, but, you know, a Biden, a Trump, a Kamala, I don't think he's going to have them on. I mean, maybe after the election, we'll you know, never say never. But who was it? Lex Friedman, who was like, I think, you know, I think we'll see Trump on the show. And I'm inclined to agree.
Is this perhaps was part of the deal they made with Biden's? We'll let you run out the clock.
Yeah, but I mean, these are people who are, you know, willing to do anything,
So how long-
say anything.
I don't think that deal's going to last.
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think it lasts.
There's part.
So so the deal is that we'll let you finish out the term, but then they still go with the 25th. Possible.
And is facing felony tax charges, I think, in October. I think that's right. I could
For about 5 more minutes.
Exactly. So you just pardon Hunter Biden.
Yes.
Clean up the messes, make sure that Jill Biden has enough money to live in Rehoboth for the rest of her life. And it's not hard. And take him out. I mean, it does seem like the logic train leads you to President Kamala Harris very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And so, and it makes sense because that way it gives you the power of she's the first woman president. How are you? You know, and you can dig into this chronic propaganda that we've been surrounded by that women are better than men, that women should be first, that women should have all the power in society. Well,
I do think that there would be something lost about first female president, that maybe they don't want to waste that on Kamala. It's already a bad situation. Doesn't really seem like anything that they can do is going to legitimately give her the upper hand on Biden. So, you know, just keep that one in the back pocket. That's what I would think.
Well, here is the first woman president, and how dare you run against the first woman president?
I wonder if anyone buys that anymore.
Some people do.
It's interesting. I mean, I was kind of agnostic on the question, but we haven't seen big successes from female leaders. And I say that as a lover of women. But I mean, it's at some point, if you make a claim, you do kind of have to substantiate it. And
like, for example, I don't know, female Secret Service agents.
No, I'm just saying, like, where is the evidence for that? I mean, I'm talking about specifically political leadership. Obviously, you shouldn't have what we saw on last Saturday in Butler Township. Obviously, that was insane. But like everyone, you know, female political leaders will be more conciliatory. There'll be more peace, less war. You've seen exactly the opposite. Ukraine war was driven by a woman, actually, Victoria Nuland. Hillary Clinton is the most bloodthirsty person I've ever seen on the public stage. Like Madeleine Albright, a total ghoul.
No, a million Iraqi children.
And
so what?
Nasty and stupid. I knew Madeleine Albright, nasty, stupid person also. But leaving that aside, there doesn't seem to be any evidence for these claims at all. In fact, the opposite appears to be true, unless I'm missing something. I mean, I guess you're not supposed to say this because like,
even some,
the idea is so important that you can't marshal evidence for or against. You just have to accept it. But I'm a free man, and I just don't see any evidence that female leadership is more likely to get us to peace than male leadership. I see the opposite evidence.
There's even some scholarship that, you know, we actually do have a track record of this, because if you look at, for example, the Kingdom of England, and so the United Kingdom, they've had
Kingdom of England. Who says
kings
that?
and queens for several centuries now, and at one point, obviously, the throne had real power. Not now. I'm not really sure. The communists seem to have real power in England right now. Farage is doing a great job, but
I remember this.
There's some scholarship that shows that when England had a queen, they were actually more likely to go to war, whereas when England had a king, they were more likely to seek peace through diplomatic means.
That does not surprise me, based
women, right?
Based on what I've seen in the United States over the past 20 years. So I don't think, you know, look, as long as we're throwing out all of our standards and norms and traditions, and we're starting at year zero, which is clearly what the goal here.
Pretty
when
much.
Kamala says, you know, we're unburdened by the past, what she's really saying is,
right. That's Pol Pot.
Welcome to Kampuchea.
What can be unburdened by what has been? What can be unburdened by what has been?
Exactly. Then we should just be completely honest about everything all the time. Why not? I mean, they already would kill you if they could, so why not just be totally honest? And I'm just kind of interested in this idea of female political leadership being this thing that it demonstrably isn't. And so why does the right feel like we have to go along with these pieties, which are clearly lies,
As long as the intersex has more masculine qualities, I'm down. I'm down.
Like, why? Let's just stop doing that.
Well, and think, Tucker, we were to go back to it again, and we'll
What do you mean? What do you mean you hate the saying? We just have to think and believe in what can be, unburdened by what has been.
dig into it some more, but we were, since we're on the topic, we were what, half an inch away from Kamala Harris versus Nikki Haley. That could have.
That's what I'm saying. My delusions say the amount of control they have. And yet, why do they do these nonsense games? Just take the control. I'm ready to live in an imaginary world powered by AI, I want to be a tolling world, but and I want to be in a token world. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people who would happily take the blue pill. There's a lot of people who are already happily taking the blue pill. So like that's kind of what I mean when it's like, okay, they got to come up with this conspiracy, and it has to play out like this and that and that and that and that, and it's on TV and da. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. This is the best plan that you could have come up with. All the great minds of the military. No way. No way. Nick said, unfortunately, it's not what we would think of a female president. It's what other world leaders would think of her, and would they respect her? So, I mean, there are, it's a good question. It's a good question, but I think that it is more of an American thing, because there are world leaders who are women, or who have, there have been world leaders. I mean, like, for better or worse, people didn't see, what the fuck is her name? The German chick. You know what I'm talking about. The German president. Germany's not, doing fantastically, but I don't necessarily know if they say it's because we had a woman president. But I don't know. Any films, and Hillary's looking at Bill right now saying, can't we just drone him? They want to. And they could. That's what I'm saying. It would just be in the night. Get three guys. SEAL Team 6 type dudes. They go in, middle of the night. Done. Nobody ever has to know. Like the Epstein thing. That is how they would do it. Not all of this evidence where there's people around and there's video and there's sound analysts. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I want to folks that if they take control that fast, it would cause a large civil war, which would harm their control. Would be vulnerable to war from enemies and maybe some allies, but only if they. And again, I'm obviously don't want this to happen, but just talking about the game theory of it, that the taking control fast doesn't necessarily have to be obvious. It can be a series of short things. We saw how fast they took control from COVID. Wasn't no civil war there. I'm not saying it's the same situation, but you could easily introduce rumors that Trump has been dealing with some sickness. And, it's not something that's easily, not like Biden where it's a neurological thing, but, it's a sickness and he's doing whatever. Talking about that for months and months and months, and nobody knows is it true or it's not. Trump said it's not true, but he's lying because he doesn't want to. Then, they poison him with some shit and like, oh no, he got COVID. And he's still talking to the people. He's saying, I'm fine. He's on Truth Social saying, I'm doing good. I'm just a little sick and whatever. And then he's gone. I think they've shown that they're willing to let the civil unrest happen. So that doesn't make sense to me. That's not a refutation. We're already there. What am I gonna call you? Lucian? I'll call you Lucian. I don't want pills. I want genetic medicine that transmit data through an internal device. Well, there you go. Either way, they will have you. My delusion said I'll happily go on a mission to destroy the ring. There you go. There you go. It is done. There you go. There we go.
Half an inch away from Kamala Harris versus Nikki Haley. That could have been our election.
Right. So let's get to the thing that, I mean, one of the,
Yeah, the 20-year-old with no social media was in direct contact with Iran. I'm just saying it's so much easier because again, we can have you don't only have to have one false flag. You can have a false flag for the assassination, and then you can have a different false flag in 3 months when nobody's going to connect it to this to get us into Iran. It's just so much hanging on this one thing, and it don't make sense. It don't make no fucking sense.
Election.
Right. So let's get to the thing that, I mean, one of the, I'm not that surprised that the Democratic Party, which did not want Joe Biden in the first place, they wanted Pete Buttigieg.
That's right.
And they put Biden in. They knew he was senile. I knew he was senile because his sister told a friend of mine. That's who, if I knew as a right-wing talk show host, then trust me, every big done. Jeffrey Katzenberg knew. I mean, come on, let's stop lying.
Well, again, I always bring up that Atlantic article. Joe Biden, we just need your corporeal. Stay alive, Joe Biden. In March of 2020. Stay alive, please, Joe Biden. We just need your corporeal form. They knew from 2020 that he was not okay. Lucian said, Israel wants to pin it on Iran. They're dying to have us go in there so they can take control. And again, I agree, but I don't think that taking out Trump is the only way to get there. I mean, maybe if that did, if the plan went through and Trump died, they would have used that. But that's not necessarily the same thing as they did this. They orchestrated this so that we could get into Iran. And then realistically, I mean, even if you're the deep state and you want to create a situation where we're in a war with Iran, I feel like you'd rather have Trump at the helm anyway. I've never been like a general, but if I'm entering a war, politics aside, it's very clearly better for my side to have Trump as the leader than Biden or Harris. So, I don't know. The Mossad.
Who, as a right-wing talk show host, then trust me, every big done. Jeffrey Katzenberg knew. I mean, come on, let's stop lying.
The Germans did this with Hindenburg in 1933.
Exactly. That's exactly
like, this is the one guy who's kind of palatable, but we can control him,
exactly.
et cetera, et cetera.
So he was always late stage Woodrow Wilson. They knew that.
Yes.
All the surprise.
They liked that.
Bullshit.
Tucker,
of course they
Tucker.
did.
Joe Biden is not being pulled from the presidency because he has dementia. He's being pulled because the American people found out.
Well, of course.
They
right.
liked
and he can no longer win. Right.
Yep.
So I'm not that surprised by what they're doing, and they're discarding him like a used condom. And I almost feel sorry for him, but he's such a nasty,
I don't.
evil person that it's hard to feel sorry. But whatever. I'm not shocked.
Nikki Haley was nicer, or Kristi Noem was nicer to her dog than they are being.
It's true. Right now. But those are the rules. Like it always ends in tears.
Hey, shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Lucian said, I thought Trump didn't want to fund foreign wars, though. Is Israel the exception? Unfortunately, I do think it is. But I wonder how the UN court's deeming them an apartheid state. I wonder if that gets us the excuse that we need to be like, fuck y'all. I don't know if it would, but it could, and I'm down for that.
Dog, then they are being.
It's true.
Oh, Morty, like, Jesus!
It always ends in tears. It's not a sentimental business, but the attempted murder of the Republican nominee, 9 days ago, that's we're sort of blowing past that now. So let's go back to Butler Township, Pennsylvania.
Well, and
last Saturday,
they want us to blow past that because what's the one thing that could knock an assassination attempt out of the news cycle, out of the conversation? The collapse of an American president.
I think that's right. So let's just get this on tape, if you don't mind. Given what we know now, and I pray we'll know a lot more. But as of this morning, tell us what happened that day.
So I've got here Senator Johnson's office. Ron Johnson of Wisconsin has been kind enough to send us a preliminary copy of their reporting into the situation. Very fresh, fog of war, caveat on all this stuff.
Yes.
Because this is what's coming from them. We are told
and
that—
can I say one thing? I think whatever you think of, I like Ron Johnson, but even if I didn't, he clearly has a willingness to pull threads in a way most senators are not. And he's obviously got some decent investigators on his staff, given what he did with COVID. So
I think he's someone who wants the truth of things.
It does feel that way to me.
And that he with a burning desire. By the way, there are 2 senators of Pennsylvania. I don't see them.
No, they're not
doing any of
But
this.
Johnson has people on his, I don't know who they are, but he came up with stuff during COVID that nobody else got. So I think that we should consider what you're about to say in light of that.
All right, and these
So before he goes into that, let's shout out our boy Unwanted Bo for another super chat. I guess that's the thing. Whatever. What did you eat? What did you eat? Oh, you know what he ate? I came down yesterday and found this bowl to be empty. He ate the whole thing. So maybe I just got to give him a bunch of these before the show, and then he farts in my face, and then you give me money. I think that's a good deal. There you go. You smelly motherfucker. You smelly little bastard. You smelly little motherfucker. Thank you so very, very, very much, sir. Much appreciated.
So I think that we should consider what you're about to say in light of that.
All right, and these are predominantly interviews that were conducted through the local police, and that just right off the start should tell you something. Because if Johnson's talking to local police, wait a minute, this is the United States senator. Shouldn't he have direct access to the Secret Service? Shouldn't he have direct access to the ATF, to the FBI, all of these things? And so as his office has been going through the investigation, they suddenly said, well, yeah, we talked to one guy from the ATF who was sort of there, but then he went dark on us. And we talked to a few people at the Secret Service, and they push us to the spokesman, like if you're some reporter. We talked to a few people at FBI, but nothing. And then so local police is saying, whoa, wait a minute, we'll tell you whatever you want to know. So why is it that local police are being more forthcoming than our actual government?
Well, this is why.
And he's going, this is why they defunded the police. I mean, it makes sense. Mind allusions to the president funding wars? How much money is in selling cars, petrol, bullets, etc.? Does the president have any say in that? If I sold weapons, I could not care less what the press thought. I think you're right. Money is all that matters. Money is all that matters. Shout out to again, the Funk Master General coming in so hot. Another $10 super chat. Where we at? Eat it up, you smelly motherfucker. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so good. Once you learn to like it, it's good. It burns. It's a good burn. I love it. Embracing the stench of the Overlord. Thank you. Very, very much, guys. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you again. Thank you.
Oh, so why is it that local police are being more forthcoming than our actual government?
Well, this is why they defunded the police in the first place. It's not because they're against police. They seek a police state. They're against anybody with guns they can't control. That's why they're trying to take your AR. I mean, that's the way to understand
the goal
it.
of defund the police is a national police force,
of course.
eventually.
Yeah, guys with guns they can control.
And Sharpton has come out and said this.
Obviously. It's so obviously true. So anyway, I keep interrupting you.
So, number one top line, Secret Service did not attend a security briefing that morning.
The morning of the event.
So,
there was just no briefing.
What?
That's insane. Imagine how I feel. Zibby said Rove and Cheney made billions. Papa Bush too. World War III, the war on drugs. World War IV, the war on terror. So I guess we're on World War V then. World War V is coming up, and another hot war. The first hot world war since World War II. Crazy.
Service did not attend a security briefing that morning.
The morning of the event.
So, and we can drop back and just explain the whole thing. Donald Trump is having a political rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is Western Pennsylvania, about 40 miles north or so of the city of Pittsburgh. On the same day, same evening, Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States, is holding a dinner event in Pittsburgh. The context of all this is that the RNC is taking place 2 days in advance of it. And so the RNC is taking up place. Jill Biden's got the event. Donald Trump's at the event, both in the same Secret Service field office area. Then there's also a lot of Secret Service down in Milwaukee, where you and I were, at the RNC. So Secret Service is totally stretched at this point. It's not like a normal situation. The security posture, because of this, because of the lack of resources, is much lower. The normal people who would be around President Trump aren't there. His A team, as they're called, aren't necessarily there as much. People are spread to all these different locations. This is the context. We also know that there was a strong theory that President Trump would bring his vice presidential pick to that rally. And certainly this was in discussion, held right on the border of where? Ohio. President Trump that morning, we now know, had a meeting with Senator J.D. Vance, who went on to become the nominee, although that pick was not made until Monday. So J.D. Vance doesn't end up.
Well, I happen to know that that was the plan, or one of several plans that was under discussion. That's a fact.
Yes.
And I heard it from like a bunch of different people. I heard it from the campaign. So this was known.
Right. I'm hearing the exact same thing. That and partially the forcing function for that is because the vice presidential nominee must be named on the first day of the convention. Right. And so the idea is, well, why not just bring him to a rally and do it there and have it be? And I haven't quite got. Have you heard why it was that they decided not to bring him?
Zippy says World Wars 3 and 4 are hot wars. Tell that to the nations that were destroyed, and the name of government is here to help you. Yeah. Hard to argue with that. Hard to argue with that. You are right, sir. And yes, we are going to have an after party, so make sure before the stream is over, head on, if you are a member, head into the voice channel. Let us speak. I see Harley Rose in there already. But since we needed a mulligan from yesterday, so we are going to keep raging. You guys have been so generous. We are going to keep it moving. But just letting you know that we are going to be doing an after party. That much. Mind Illusion said, either way, this stream is important. Better to speak about everything that than be censored and not be able to speak about message censored automatically. I appreciate it. I dilly to that. I agree. I think, talking about this stuff and bringing it up and staying relevant with developing stories and especially when there's multiple developing stories at a time at the same time, then just keeping tabs on like, okay, this is what's happening with this. Okay, we don't have a full story. We're not making conclusions. We're speculating and seeing what might be, but we're just staying on our toes and being ready for whatever comes next. Lucian said in 2022, automotive manufacturers made over $1 trillion. Oil made made 4.3 trillion, and ammunition made $7.7 billion. Took the words right out of my mouth. Damn.
And have it be. And I haven't quite got. Have you heard why it was that they decided not to bring him?
Yeah, I have. And I think it was just a political question. Where are we going to get more bang for this announcement? Okay. But I do know that as of, a few days before, that was actively being discussed. It's a long way of saying what you just said, which is that people watching this had every reason to believe that Trump and his VP pick would be there.
So you see, and of course, Rubio had just been at an event in Trump Doral, I think a few days before, and he was someone who was also very heavily lobbied. We can talk about that later, but heavily lobbied as vice president from a number of people around that same time period. But he had been at a rally in Doral, and yet Trump did not bring him on stage. So a lot of people thought that was sort of the death knell for that potential candidacy. So Trump was holding this rally, and about 10 minutes into the start of the rally.
Wait, first though, the Secret Service didn't even show up at the morning briefing the day of the rally.
Yeah.
Like right there. That in and of itself should be enough for Kim Cheadle to have stepped down. That in and of itself should have been enough. Even if nothing happened, nobody was briefed on what we are supposed to be doing to protect the former and next president. Lucian says, makes sense that the government would have an interest in these industries. For sure. Funkmaster General said those weren't world wars. They were just us stomping around like Godzilla. Yeah, if anything, I mean, I would think that it makes us the bad guys in a world war where it's us versus brown people in this country or that, and then also Ukraine. But yeah, obviously, there's a reason why we don't call them World War III and World War IV, because there are not a lot of other world powers are fighting. But just speaking generally, it's I get where Zippy's coming from.
Wait, first though, the Secret Service didn't even show up at the morning briefing the day of the rally.
Yeah. Right here. Secret Service did not attend a security briefing provided to local special weapons and tactics SWAT and sniper teams the morning of July 13th. So when you're holding an event like this, going back to security posture, typically you're going to need to staff up. So you're going to need extra bodies, you're going to need augments, you're going to need more CS, not counter sniper teams. You're going to need all of these things
and not women who are not even as tall as Trump. It's not about any. I have no more business being a Secret Service agent for Trump than any of those women. If she happened to be strong and tall, go for it. If you can pass all the same physical tests that all the men have to do, totally fine. Totally fine. It's not a sex. It's not a sex thing for me. But what do we see?
Huge event, outdoor event since November 1963 has always been and will always be the most potentially fatal event that a politician can hold, of course. And so they know that for one of these outdoor events, the first thing you have to worry about is all the tall buildings, all the tall implements. This is why they're held in fields, by the way, for the most part, rather than like inner cities, because cities would have more vantage points. You've got windows, you've got all sorts of stuff.
Here, they have 3 buildings and a water tower, and they still failed.
The Plaza, we can all do the
briefing or not.
And so they bring in augments from state police. They bring in augments from the local Butler County Sheriff. They bring augments from the Butler Township Police, and to say, okay, you're going to be working with us. No, every single presidential event is controlled by the Secret Service. And this woman, Kimberly Cheadle, speaking of female leadership, it tells us that, well, these areas were assigned to the local police, and that's just not true. They may have been in areas that were considered outside the perimeter, but the Secret Service has command of every single hierarchy for a presidential visit, period, full stop. So anyone who's brought into this is working through their operational plan. So the CONOP is done, concept of operations would be done by the Secret Service and then disseminated to these teams. However, we're told that at the basic sync meeting that you would have been having that morning, Secret Service wasn't even there. So the local police say, okay, morning of, let's go. It's the like the coach meeting the team before
the Secret Service is responsible for protecting Trump.
Yes.
Before we go on, Mind Illusion has an interesting concept here. With that amount of money and power, it's not crazy to talk about one world government. But if we are united as humans, who would be our enemy? And so if we had a one world government, it would be they would be our enemy. The purpose of the one world government would be to continue to have the power over the people. And the people would be just subjugated by that one world government because they have no recourse as to how they can do anything. It just by decree. Lucian said, it doesn't matter how strong and tall you are. God didn't make people equal. Smith and Wesson did. It definitely does matter how tall you are if you're supposed to literally be a human shield. You're literally supposed to be in the way of the bullet, so that if another shot goes, then it hits you instead of him. And if he's exposed, then you're not doing the job. I agree that, that guns are the great equalizer. But, I mean, in this particular situation, you need to be tall and strong. Because they're supposed to, who was, I don't remember who it was. Somebody was talking about how they have the Huck and Chuck teams where you're supposed, they're supposed to have a team of everybody piles on the official, whether it's the president or any, whoever else, they pile on, and then there's another team who's supposed to pick that person up and move into and chuck them into an armored vehicle. And I don't necessarily think it's fair to just say, oh, there was women there and that's why they didn't do what they were supposed to do. I think in the heat of the moment, you don't, okay, we haven't had a sassy nation attempt recently, but I don't know how often an average Secret Service agent has to deal with some type of threat. But it stands to reason that, okay, we haven't been prepared for something like this. watching, no spoilers, but I've been watching House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff. And it's coming right after a time of peace, and they're going into war. And there's all this stuff about the men are supposed to go to the war, and this and that and whatever. But it's like, you guys have just been playing around. None of you have been to war. We've been in a time of peace for the last 90 years. So, and especially if I'm riding a dragon, I don't give a fuck what you could do with a sword. All that to say, I agree, the great equalizer. But as a Secret Service agent, to be protecting an individual, you have to be taller than that individual. Zibby said, I'd argue that the war on drugs and terror has many more nations and peoples involved. World War I and II just had a few big nations fighting each other, a war of peers. If you want to split the difference, a true world war is with peers. The number of nations fighting is moot. So yeah, that's I think, the splitting the hairs there. Hit the nail on the head. Mind Delusion said, what's the point in shielding against a nuke? I mean, depending on how big it is and how damage it can be, there might not be. There might not be. Yeah, see, Nick's like, I want a fat dude protecting me. I need 4 feet of fat, just gelatinous fat to slow that bullet down. Yeah, that's how we're dancing around. It's the sassy nation. The sassy nation. Lucian said, can he not crouch, crawl, run? There were guys around him taller and shorter than him. The sex reasoning doesn't make sense in that context, which is why I specifically just said it's not about the sex thing. It's about that you have to be taller and physically able. I just said that. MS9 said Secret Service needs to be able to pick up their asset and carry them out if need be. Yep, that's all we're saying. And so again, I don't know that it is. I'm not saying that, there were women there and that's why the entire Secret Service failed. Secret Service failed, and also, even if they had operated according to procedure perfectly, Trump still could have gotten shot after after they identified the shooter and all that stuff, because of the fact that he was exposed. That's all.
That's all. It's the like the coach meeting the team before
the Secret Service is responsible for protecting Trump.
Yes,
but they couldn't even go to the meeting that morning. So let me ask you a question.
And this is the meeting
that's bizarre,
where
right?
You're going through what frequency are we on, guys? Hey, I'm Jack. Here's Tucker. We're going to be out there. Okay, you got the building. We're going to be in here. So you would be able to communicate. You'd go through a communications plan. You'd go through the basic workflow of the day. You'd go through your pattern of life.
Yeah.
You would mention if you, I don't know, saw someone flying a drone around or something like that. That type of information could be disseminated. Or if there were any local groups that they had an eye on, you might put out a 6-pack or something like that. Hey, be advised, these are some of the things that we're tracking. These are some of the people that we're looking at. If you had something like that, this is the meeting where you would do that. Secret Service doesn't go.
Crazy. Okay.
Crazy.
So then what happens?
So local law enforcement was siloed, no direct radio contact because they didn't go to the meeting. They had no way of contacting directly to the Secret Service snipers who were inside. So you've got these police teams outside.
Even during the event, they had no way to contact them?
They had to contact them through an intermediary. So you'd set up a tactical operations center or a communication, I think it was called the Butler Communication Center in this case, or the TOC. So you'd go through the TOC, and then the TOC has a liaison, and the liaison goes to the Secret Service, and then the Secret Service has to go through their liaison back to the TOC, and then the TOC goes back to the police, as opposed to just being on the same frequency and saying, hey, there's a guy crawling on the building.
So who was the...
Yeah, and I was going to say, we'll give credit to one of those women. She put herself in front of Trump. Like, yeah, that's the job, and good job on doing your job. But you're not able to. That's what I'm saying. It's not like throwing shade at her. It's that if it was basketball, we would have the exact same issue. You're not built for this. You're not built for this. An on-screen chat so we can all see each other. I don't know how to do that. If anybody knows how to do that, then that would be cool. But I try to pull everything up. So, the one chat government. There you go. Or everybody could just come on over to YouTube.
As opposed to just being on the same frequency and saying, hey, there's a guy crawling on the building.
So who was this guy and how did he get there? What do we know about him?
This individual, and I want to skip ahead a little bit in the report because there's a lot in this report. Even, by the way, let me say this real quick. Section 5, Secret Service was initially not going to send snipers to the rally, according to local law enforcement.
So how does that even happen?
An outdoor rally with a guy who's a former president of the United States, who is imminently becoming the nominee for president of the United States,
Right.
someone who we just know, it's just inherent that Donald Trump has multiple credible threats to his life at all times for like the last decade or so.
I wonder why. Because, the media has been so nice to him.
And they weren't even going to provide counter sniper teams at first to this rally, which, as I just said, is outdoors, which is the most potentially fatal, the most dangerous position a politician can ever put themselves in. We're told the counter sniper team showed up like the day before to actually do some of the casing, not, a week prior. And I've done presidential visits. I've done overseas stuff with presidents and detailees, and you're out there a week before. You're going through the motorcade route. You're checking bridges. You're doing all that stuff. None of that was done here.
Wow.
None of it. 8 days before the rally, local police are informed. 5 days before the rally, they meet with the Secret Service, and they're informed that the rally will be held at the Butler Farm Grounds. 3 days before the rally, Secret Service conducts a site visit. Just 3 days before they conducted the site visit. At that point, no counter sniper teams. On the day of the rally, at 9 a.m., they hold a briefing. 46-page slide deck only from the local Butler ESU. Local SWAT and sniper units are there, but the staging locations are laid out. Secret Service doesn't attend. According to attendees of the briefing, no Secret Service or other federal law enforcement is present for this briefing.
Why?
Secret Service had not initially intended to provide sniper units, but changed course for currently unclear reasons. The briefing included an outline of the security perimeter for the event.
Maybe because they knew that they needed to take somebody out with a sniper.
Currently unclear reasons. The briefing included an outline of the security perimeter for the event and areas of responsibility, or AORs. At 9:27 a.m., concurrent, Thomas Matthew Crooks, the alleged shooter, enters a Home Depot located in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. CCTV footage shows the shooter entering alone. A couple of minutes later, he purchases a 5-foot aluminum dual platform ladder. That's the only time we see the ladder, by the way, Tucker, in this timeline. The ladder disappears after this. 9:42, he leaves. They identify him. 10:30, snipers are in position. And this is interesting.
Can I just ask, so that morning, Crooks buys the ladder.
Yes.
So that suggests he's already figured out exactly what he's going to do.
He's got an idea.
He's figured it out just on his own. He, by himself, has figured it out.
Interesting. Okay.
So the ladder's in place. 10:30 a.m., 2 local law enforcement snipers are in position on the second floor inside the AGR building, the American Glass Research Building. So they don't go to the roof of this building. They go inside the second floor. They sit there. They're looking out the windows, but they never actually go to the roof or apparently to the back of the building to see where this guy came up. 5:10 p.m., Crooks is first observed by one of the snipers, AGR Sniper 1, at the AGR building. And he takes the picture below of Crooks. Not long after that, and I'll show you these in a second.
There you go. Don't be divided by chats. Everybody hit up YouTube and we're good.
They can put up AGR Sniper 1 takes a picture below of a bicycle and what appears to be 2 bags located near the AGR building. It is unclear what happened.
I saw something with this bike. There was somebody, I can't place it. But there was somebody who was riding this bike or walking this bike around the grounds of the rally. I don't remember if anybody has any idea what I'm talking about and could find it. That would be awesome. I don't know where it is. But yeah, that's the issue. And of course, we all could be together in Discord, which is free to join. Absolutely free. And they just dropped that link. So
bicycle and what appears to be 2 bags located near the AGR building. It is unclear what happened to the bicycle and bags after July 13th, 2024. Let's take a look at that.
So
yeah, you guys see, I mean, look what happened yesterday. When little things go, I don't know computers and stuff, and I know that you can do a lot more with OBS, but just this little movement is enough that it's I don't understand how more people don't use it. But it's just too easy. It's just too easy. It has everything right there. and you know, the time that it would take to learn all these other things. Then if something goes wrong and I you know, spending time to fix this, oh, this setting is that it's just too easy. But hey, you know, I pull all the chats up, so say something good and I'll be up here.
13th, 2024. And take a look at that.
So they're saying that Crooks rode a bicycle to the event?
There's a van that's later found outside
down by the river,
sort of the parking area that's about a mile distance from this AGR building. That is Crooks's van. That van is, we're told, contains explosives,
yep.
Homemade explosives. And
which he just knew how to do because, you know, he's never Googled anything. He's no social media.
Explosives that are connected to a remote controlled detonator, which is later found on Crooks's body. So the idea being then, if this bicycle is indeed his.
So I didn't even know that wasn't the case. There's no donation feature on Twitch. That's insane. How do you make money on Twitch? I don't know, but I mean, I've been streaming to Twitch as long as I've been streaming on YouTube, and we may have. Did we hit 4K yet? Let's say. Did we hit 4K? We are 11 subscribers away from 4K, guys. And how many? I don't even know how many. I mean, I think I have like 6 or 7 followers on Twitch. I don't know. Twitch just doesn't like me. They just don't like me. If it was, you know, if there was more people there, then I would have more reason to, you know, make things more, you know, applicable to Twitch. But there's no reason. No reason.
So the idea being then, if this bicycle is indeed his, parks the van, gets into the bicycle, carries his rifle, slings it on. You could see the bags in the photo. Rides the bicycle from where the van is, that mile distance, to the back of this building.
Okay, so then I'm getting to the next part. I'm sorry to take this.
And actually, I'm just realizing that I don't believe in the senator's timeline that they have the drone.
What drone?
Crooks's drone. Unless I'm missing it.
He has a drone too?
It's now been reported that he, at some point prior to 5:10, so around 3 in the afternoon or so, when things are still getting prepared, he's there with a drone flying a flight pattern around the area of the Butler Farm grounds.
Sus.
That's insane.
There's so little to be able to say. It's just like, why are all of these failures? Why are all of these levels of suspicion ignored? Completely ignored.
You can't. I mean, I just know from living in DC, you can't just operate drones around law enforcement.
No.
It freaks them out.
No, or Don Jr. told me, and I think he said in one of his recent interviews, that when his father was at his house for like an event, like a family event and a party, that he wanted to put up one of his drones, and the software wouldn't allow the drone to even take off because a Secret Service detailee was in the vicinity. My cousin was getting married in southern Pennsylvania, which is pretty close to where Wilmington is, and she wanted to have a drone up at her wedding. And because Biden happened to be in Wilmington at that point, she was within that 30-mile radius. You know, the photographers come to her and say, "Hey, we can't do any drones here."
This is crazy, and it's also sophisticated. So the guy's got. It seems like he's got a van, explosives, a bicycle, a rifle,
a drone,
a ladder, a drone,
a rangefinder.
A rangefinder. I'm going to ask you about that in a second. And the guy knew this was coming. This wasn't a spur of the moment thing. He's buying the ladder that morning.
All by himself.
And he's making a shot that everyone is sort of, I know everyone's like, oh, it's not 140 yards, not that far. I think it was 140 yards.
It's a boot camp shot.
Yeah, boot camp shot.
Yeah, but under the circumstances, like heavy pressure.
Still, I don't know. I fired that rifle yesterday. You know, you kind of have to.
With no scope.
He had no scope?
No scope, iron rails.
Are you sure?
Yes.
He used iron sights to hit someone.
He used iron sights.
In the face at 140 yards.
My take on that, and just my assessment.
Venmo and Cash App work, guys.
Was that he knew that.
And PayPal.
Because he was lying prone, he knew that a scope or an EOTech or something would present more of a picture to any counter snipers. So if you wanted to stay lower, if you wanted to stay more out of sight, and he's using the angle of the building to conceal himself, that you wouldn't want something.
Okay, I'm calling bullshit on this whole thing. I'm trying not to use swear words. Excuse me. This is not plausible. This kid's a 20-year-old much bullied, socially awkward, weird kid who washes out of the rifle team because he can't shoot. He's got no social media profile. His search history suggests no research into any of this, and he sounds way too sophisticated.
And what the videos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, as much as, I've been able to figure out all I've been able to figure out, I'm using, the most basic stuff. Like I'm not a technical guy. I know computers. I'm 34 years old. I grew up using computers and stuff, but like, no. And again, you guys see me. You guys see me when something goes wrong. I flip out and freak out. I'm not good in those moments. So I need everything to be as simplified as possible. Mind Illusion said, I call BS as well. A 360 no scope is not that easy. Gotta be hacks for sure.
Bingo.
For sure.
He sounds way too sophisticated.
And what the videos that they're not talking about are the fact that he appears in this like BlackRock ad.
Yup.
And
which they deleted. What was it, that day or the day before or something?
As well as a number of YouTube videos regarding computer programming that he was in the previous.
Okay, so I know that your former military, I wasn't even in the Boy Scouts, but I shoot a lot, have all my life, and I just disagree with respect with all the former special forces and CIA guys and guys like you. I think 140 yards with iron sights hitting a man in the face, pretty good shot. I'm just saying that. I do. No one else agrees it's a boot camp shot, but this guy didn't go to boot camp. And as someone who also didn't go to boot camp but shoots a lot, 223 a lot, including yesterday, I think it's a decent shot.
I agree, and again, I'm very ignorant on the entire thing, but the notion, again, going back to the notion that that you could expect this kid, maybe a professional, you could expect somebody, but that you could expect this kid to accidentally, or excuse me, purposely get that close and miss. Just like, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so.
I do. It's hitting steel the size of a tea saucer at 140 yards with iron sights. Like, that's not, I mean, I could probably do that, but again, I shoot a lot.
Well, and Tucker, there's another piece.
But for a guy who's 20 years old, like, how much range time do you have? Like, where did he learn that?
There is some reporting. So this was his father's gun.
Yeah.
And it's in Pennsylvania. So, I mean, it sounded, Butler, Pennsylvania is a bit more further west, but I don't, I'm trying to think. Does anybody know offhand what gun laws are like in Pennsylvania? Because I know, like, obviously, like in Philly, you can't have a gun, but if you go out further west, I would assume that'll be a bit more open.
And so after flying the drone, he drives all the way back to Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is a distance of about an hour, both ways. So he drives an hour back, says, hey, Dad, I'm going to take the gun out. And the dad later tells media, at least as of right now, and caveat to all this stuff, because we're going off of what we have right now, that the dad says, I thought he was going to the range. So this sounded like that was a regular thing that he did.
Okay. And that's, I mean, it's not a crazy long shot, but it's just, but you kind of have to commit a little bit to learning how to operate the rifle if you're going to hit it 100.
Listen to this part, because
I'm surprised that we haven't seen or heard more from the parents. Like where did you get that information that the dad thought he was just going to the range? I haven't seen any type of video or article on that. And I mean, you know, not that I'm the arbiter of everything that's out there, but it's just not something I feel like that would be, you know, something that everybody would be talking about. And it's just, you know, going under the radar.
You want to talk about the shot. So a lot of people think that, you know, he was just sitting there prone, waiting for the opportune moment. Trump happens to turn at the last moment. That's it. That's not what happened. What happened was,
I mean, he was the one who said that it wasn't a world war, that we were just being Godzilla.
A couple of these local police officers, and you know, we've gone through the timeline where they take the picture of him, they're radioing the messages back, and Trump's team, the actual team around Donald Trump, doesn't get any of these messages. Because the easiest thing to do would be to say, hey, let's check that guy out before we bring the president out on stage. They never relay the message to Trump. They never give that to his team, his direct body detail. They never hear about this guy.
And it was something like what? I think initially 3 hours before the shot, that he was deemed a suspicious person pacing outside of the gates and the metal detectors. So there's that. Then I think there was something like 30 minutes when they saw him, walking around and being weird, and 10 minutes when they saw him up on the roof. Make it make sense. That don't make no sense.
They never give that to his team, his direct body detail. They never hear about this guy. So there's a threat. There's a threat that's identified an hour prior. They're taking photos of him. They're checking on him. They lose sight of him. That's when he goes up on the building. We're told. And they're calling in saying, hey, there's a guy. He's got a rangefinder.
Okay, so that's what I want to ask you. So will you explain for people who aren't familiar with the device, what's a rangefinder?
So a rangefinder is something that somebody might use in...
it's something you use to find your range, obviously.
In site surveying, someone might use in laying out a plot of land or nice barn like this one or something like that.
And in deer
or
hunting.
in hunting, and of course in a sniper team, a rangefinder is used by the spotter. So sniper teams are always called that because you've got a spotter and a shooter.
Right.
So the spotter is the person who's doing the range finding. They might be calculating wind. They might be.
It shows you the distance.
It gives you the distance
away from something you're looking
from whatever it is. Right. So you're painting it with a laser, and you're saying.
So if you
right. So Lucian said handguns require a concealed carry permit and background check. Long guns, such as rifles, do not get a background check for purchase. Well, I don't know what to say about that. I would have assumed that it was like I said, I would have assumed it was easier, but I'm surprised that a city speaking of Philadelphia would be so strict if the rest of the state is so open. But Democrat city's gonna Democrat city. My delusion said $4 trillion. Projects like MK Ultra easy to set stuff up like that. Agreed. And again, that brings me back to, well, if they can do stuff like that, why would we assume that this plan is the best that they could come up with? It just don't make sense to me.
Distance
it gives you the distance
away from something you're looking
from whatever it is. Right. So you're painting it with a laser, and you're saying.
So if you're trying to protect, the most controversial political figure in the world at an outdoor rally, and someone shows up with a rangefinder, like you can't even bring at the RNC, you couldn't even bring your jewel, and you couldn't even
have a vape in there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going.
Right, because it might increase your testosterone, and that's a threat. But how do you get a rangefinder into a protected event? That's like the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So he never goes in through the magnetometers, as far as we know. There was reporting early on that the rangefinder was found in the magnetometers, but the current reporting, caveat, is that he always stayed outside the effective Secret Service perimeter, that there's this whole range of fencing. By the way, for the record, I'm not saying anything about what I think right now. This is the official story.
Right.
So there's this whole setup off to the side of where Trump is standing, where there's a fence and there's nothing. There's no Secret Service. There's a couple of patrols. There's these guys in the building. Anybody could have walked up with anything.
How does the kid know where that unprotected area is?
So he's casing the area. He's going there prior. He's flying the drone. He's checking it all out. But for whatever reason, he just knows to ride the bike directly there, and then he's going to have a direct shot from the top.
This kid doesn't have a job, right?
And yeah, so the implication then is that there must have been somebody directing him as to what to do. There must have been somebody who, outside of the top levels of whatever the security apparatus is, there was people who were able to know what the plan is and subvert the plan to allow him to get up there and allow him to do what he did. There's what other explanation could you have? What other explanation could there be?
Just knows to ride the bike directly there, and then he's going to have a direct shot from the top.
This kid doesn't have a job. I mean, he's 20 years old.
He works in a nursing home.
I'm sorry. That's right. I read that.
Very, very tactically.
No, but that's right.
Job.
He's changing bedpans by day, but he somehow is able to assess exactly the place that's got the height advantage, this building, and that is unprotected. Like, how would he know? I mean, the luck involved is extraordinary.
It's more than just that. There's luck, because we're also told, and again, this timeline doesn't quite have it, that at one point the local police, the Butler police, do go out, and they send a couple of units to go, a couple of guys over to go and say, hey, we think there's someone on that roof.
Oh, okay.
We're not sure why the sniper team inside.
Okay, real quick. This is what I was talking about.
But I was involved.
That happened?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's start this over here.
What do you think about me?
Suspected accomplice in the Trump Assassination attempt. Remember, I was talking about the bike.
Being detained for a couple hours because they thought I was involved.
That happened?
Yeah. Bomb.
Do you see what I see?
Squad had me for about an hour. Then the ATF had me. Then they took me in to sit and talk to the FBI. ATF come back in and says, Mr. Evans, we're getting you out of here.
They thought you were the shooter.
No, they thought I had the bomb.
Did you have the bomb?
I don't know if they ever found a bomb.
Interesting response.
I'm perfectly worded. Interesting response, because most people who don't have a bomb would just say no.
You'd be scared if you saw what's going on in my mind.
I am scared without seeing what's going on in your mind. And again, look what we have in the background. The white bike with the wide thing here, the black wrap up over here. It's all there.
How come?
Because there's a lot of shit going on up there. I could fix everything.
Like in the country or mechanically?
Mechanically. I could fix a lot of shit and make things right again.
It's a pretty sweet bike.
A buddy of mine gave it to me a couple years ago.
Look at that. Look at that. Plain as day. Plain as day. I'll just finish this up and then I'll
I decided I'm going to ride it cross country.
Have you done it yet?
I'm on my journey now.
Oh, what?
Now I'm stalled here.
Where are you going?
Boise.
Oh, you're making it out to Idaho.
I gave myself 100 days. If we get out of here today, we're going to be at the convention tomorrow.
The Trump thing?
Yeah.
Sources telling us the last sighting of Crooks, he had a backpack. But
make it make sense.
No sign of a gun.
He had a backpack, but no sign of a gun.
Sauce. My delusion said it's all a game. An Illuminati cards game by Steve Jackson Games. Good one, good one, good one. Maybe with $1 trillion, you get bored and play cards, but with reality. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that's what Epstein was doing. Lucian said gun restrictions are mainly in the cities because of law enforcement. Cops have to interact with people more in cities and have to deal with things like gangs. In rural area, in rural areas, now I lost my spot. In rural areas, there's little to almost no police presence, so gun restrictions are looser. Yep. Zippy said, I can see him gaining some skill in a couple of years. What? Huh? Don't worry, AI will soon be able to read your mind. It's all good. Yeah, right? The seer bike. Sus. Me and Morty in the doghouse. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, it's gonna have to be a lot more than $10 for that. But hey, I'm your whore. I'm your whore. You pay me, and I'll do whatever the fuck you want. Smiley face. Yep, you gotta smile so you don't cry, right?
Hey, we think there's someone on that roof. We're not sure why the sniper team inside the building doesn't just go and check the roof of their own building. But some guys who are on the ground, one officer hoists the other officer on his shoulders. So it's not that high of a building. To say, hey, take a look up there. And they couldn't find any ladder from their vantage point. They go up there. Officer sees Crooks. Crooks turns, trains the rifle directly at the officer. Officer ducks down. And we're told that, again, based off of this officer's reporting, that at that moment, Crooks swings the rifle back around and begins firing at Trump.
So that's when, we talk about the story of like, he missed on purpose. Like, that's not it.
So this wasn't a situation where he was sitting there lying in wait, totally unintercepted, and fires the shots. We're told that those shots ring out within seconds of him switching his sight picture back and forth from the officer back to Trump.
So I think, again, as a non-expert, but a lifelong shooter, I think that's a pretty adult shot. Like Do you?
I mean, hey, let's be fair. Kyle Rittenhouse was on point, 17 at the time, same gun. You know, I would say, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen the other in terms of the stress levels. And he was on point. So it's not impossible. But it's just not very likely.
I mean, you're in the military.
Being able to switch the sight picture that far at that range, maintain your cool, and still get off a shot which has a little bit of connection to the ear that's a fantastic shot.
Oh, it is, right? Okay, good. I'm glad someone said.
Yeah.
I keep hearing, you know, everyone on television's like been in, you know, Delta Force or something, and they're all crazy accomplished shooters. But for a non-veteran with no law enforcement background to make a shot like that strikes me as
Although I would say
amazing.
The one thing that I would just add though is that in the military, and I wasn't like some sniper or anything, but very basic level of training, and you know some mountain training and stuff like that. That you're not trained to go for headshots. You're trained to aim center mass.
That's right, of course.
And that's any basic firearms course is going to train you center mass. Why? Because the heads turn.
Yeah.
So you know the head turns, you know the head moves around. That being said,
it's a smaller target.
It's a smaller target, center mass. You've got your central nervous system. So you've got the brain stem, you've got your spinal column, you've got lungs, you've got heart, you've got all sorts of important real estate right here. So as long as you're somewhere along that parallel axis, you're gonna more than likely hit something. And you've got more of a sight picture. So you've got target-rich environment if you're going for center mass. And to this point, I have not seen reporting on whether or not Trump was actually wearing a bulletproof vest that day. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was either.
He was not shot in the chest, by the way. There was early speculation that he was. I asked him directly. He said he wasn't.
Well, that was something with Reagan, too, because Reagan does get hit. And at first they thought it wasn't that bad. But later it turned out there was internal bleeding and there was just other stuff that was going on.
So how, from the video we have all seen,
the
counter sniper, Secret Service counter sniper is lying prone, and he clearly has the shooter in his glasses. He's looking at him. He does not shoot the sniper.
We got a comment of the night. No stress when you're trained by the best. Comment of the night. There you go. There you go. So Zippy's saying if you got no life and you have rich parents and you're introverted, you can dump a lot of time into the bullshit. Agreed.
Until after the sniper has shot Trump. How could it
I missed that
not shoot the sniper until after the sniper has shot Trump? How could a Secret Service counter sniper look at a man with a rifle 140 yards away and not shoot him? I don't understand that.
Well, maybe if you were at the briefing in the morning, then you wouldn't be confused as to whether or not there was supposed to be somebody up there. If you were at the briefing, you would have known there's either not supposed to be anybody up there, or hey, they're up there, and they're not supposed to be there. I should shoot that person.
So two schools of thought. One option is he thought it was a police officer, because remember, the local police are supposed to have control of this building, and they don't have any communications with local police. And there have been so many times, Tucker, at events where someone from one agency, because they're dealing with these augments, they're dealing with people from, and there's a ton of HSI from Homeland Security that are there. There's a ton of these other local agencies. You've got multiple agencies going around, which even worse at the RNC, but I think there was like 130 different agencies that were at the RNC represented. So if you don't have good communications because you didn't go to the meeting, then you have no way of knowing, hey guys, do you have someone on that building or not?
Exactly.
Because I see someone with a rifle, doesn't look like a police officer, and he's aiming his rifle at the president. So the question, Tucker, though, is if you know that at that point, why isn't your first call to your detail sitting right with the president and say,
get him off the stage?
Don't let him go on that stage.
There's a guy with a rifle pointed at the stage. Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, it was only like 5 minutes into the speech, right? So they again, this is all they're acutely aware. Hey, there's something screwy. If we don't know exactly what's going on, there's something screwy. But yeah, just let him out there. And you're telling me nobody was involved, but just this dude, just this 20-year-old kid. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Buckmaster General said, assuming that the Secret Service sniper was trained by the best, why did he flinch? Well, see, he only got the normal Secret Service training. Crooks Oh, he went through the top class. That's the difference. Government gonna government. They can do great things when they want to. They just don't. No, I don't know. M169 said highly unlikely. He was looking through a scope. He'd have seen it wasn't. He'd have seen he wasn't dressed as an officer. But you know, there could be the question of like, do we have a plainclothes person up there? I think that's enough of a question if you don't legitimately know, which you should know by going to the meeting, but you didn't go to the meeting. So I think that's enough of, is that a plainclothes cop? And then where's the communication that, hey, there's somebody out there. Is that one of ours or no? No? Boom. That's how it should have played out. Why? Somebody was fucking around. Yeah, regular people knew something was wrong. And that leads us to believe, how could Secret Service, how could the local people, how could they not know? Could they be unaware? Is it possible that they were unaware? Maybe. I don't think so.
By the way, I mean, we've all been at Trump events or whatever politician events where they show up a couple of minutes late. Like it's never been everybody's taking pictures, they're talking to somebody, whatever.
So who are these? I mean, have we heard from the counter sniper team?
From the Secret Service?
Yeah.
No.
In a world increasingly defined by deception and the total rejection of human dignity, we decided to found the Tucker Carlson Network, and we did it with one principle in mind: tell the truth. You have a God-given right to think for yourself. Our work is made possible by our members. So if you want to enjoy an ad-free experience and keep this going, join TCN at tuckercarlson.com/podcast. tuckercarlson.com/podcast.
There you go.
So was Senator Johnson able to interview them?
So Lucian said it. I'm gonna call you Lucy. Lucy's better. Lucy said it doesn't make sense not to have communication between them. They knew something was wrong, but because they couldn't communicate, they couldn't figure out what it was. It doesn't make sense not to have communication. Yeah. Again, it's just it's not some extravagant thing. Like, why didn't anybody say anything? If somebody said something, because I've heard rumors that like they knew and they just somebody told the guy on the roof not to take the shot. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's like, how? And we said BlackRock, shoot but miss. We make more money if you miss because some are betting on hitting. There you go.
/podcast. So was Senator Johnson able to interview them?
No. It's all been Kimberly Cheadle, go to the spokesman. I'm looking through the report again here to see if anything. There's lots of questions, lots of outstanding questions that the senator's written here.
Oh yeah.
So this is, but if I can just say, this is the point where the Secret Service is incumbent on them to prove that they didn't allow this kid to shoot Trump, because it certainly looks like they did allow it.
Yes.
And so I don't understand why there isn't a delegation of senators and members of Congress and citizens standing outside blocking the entrance to the Secret Service headquarters to answer the question. You are, I think, based on everything you've said, they are presumed guilty. Now, they may not be guilty, but they
have to prove that. It's on them. Whose responsibility is it to keep the president, former president, safe? Secret Service. Okay, so then we start there. Bitch needs to step down. Eventually, she did, but she shouldn't have even had to go through the hearing for that. Like, I would have still liked the hearing, but she should have stepped down before the hearing. It should have been that day, immediately. Oh, president got shot. That is my one fucking job. And I failed. And I mean, there's only 1 inch more that you could fail worse. And that's just circumstance.
They have an obligation to explain how they're not guilty. And no one is forcing that explanation.
So I guess I don't know the exact timeline. I think by so this came out 3 days ago. So I would assume that it was recorded 4 days ago, ish. And the hearings were over the last couple of days. So maybe they just hadn't started at this time. I'm not sure.
What is going on?
So Tucker, here's an interesting thing when you look at government. So in criminal justice, you have the presumption of innocence. So the government has the presumption, the evidence must be on their side. So they have to bring the evidence, the burden of proof is on the government because the government is bringing the accusations. I say when it's the government, it's the opposite. I would say the burden of innocence is on the citizens and the burden of guilt is on the government.
Certainly,
You
but
have
as
to
fact
prove
set,
to us.
common sense suggests like this is screw up after screw up after screw up, which put together suggest an intentional series of screw ups.
Right. Well, even if so the hearing was Monday and it's Thursday. So, okay, So again, maybe they recorded this before that or something. But yeah, even if we're sticking to the story that this is a lone wolf and there was just a cascade of failures, that still is a really bad situation. That still is a completely legitimate reason for everybody to say, no, Kim Cheadle, you need to step down and resign immediately. Even if we're saying it was a lone wolf. Because that means every level of security that you had, every redundancy, failed. By sheer dumb luck. Did you not have the most extreme failure that you could ever have in your position? Luck.
Which would have allowed Trump to be murdered and, whatever else would happen after that. So, like, the fact that they haven't explained themselves and haven't been forced to explain them, and I mean forced to explain themselves, tells you that things are totally out of control.
So as we record,
like they can do.
Oh, God damn it.
Put in handcuffs at one point. Later came out years later.
I was trying to see when exactly was it live. So it doesn't look like it was. I don't think he does live. So yeah, maybe I guess it was just a day or a day or two before the hearings that they recorded this.
Tucker, he fled. He was actually stopped by local police and arrested. Said, "Why are you fleeing the scene?"
Wait, did we get that far?
Am I gonna show him a better way to run that circuit? No. I'm gonna say, hey, don't do this. Like, this is what's gonna put you on a list.
So are you suggesting you think the Biden administration...
Wait, why did it jump ahead?
Within a few days...
He's going to gas Trump with his poison gas.
Yeah,
what's the kid's motive?
But the question, social media when he's 20 years old.
Murder people.
The House needs that.
Totally out of control.
So as we record...
Like, they can do anything, and nobody can do anything about it.
So as we're recording this... Kimberly Cheadle is supposedly testifying in front of Comers right now. And that being said, well, caveat, there might be something that comes out of that. The House has started to look into this. But I think without question, and something that Speaker Johnson has spoken of, which I certainly agree with, is that this needs to be investigated.
You can't murder people.
The House needs to set up a commission that's 10 times bigger than whatever the J6 commission was.
Yup.
And we need to get absolutely to the bottom of any of this, because when you talk about crooks, talk about crooks for a little bit.
Yeah, and I keep
this guy
wrecking the flow of your story here.
They say that this guy was a total ghost on social media. He's not a ghost on social media when he's 20 years old. That means he's making himself a ghost. That means he's got programming knowledge. He knows how to use encrypted accounts. No, he knows.
That's the. So it would make sense that he has no digital footprint. But not because he's just somebody, I don't really use social media. But because he has the knowledge, again, at 20 years old. Even if we're talking about 24, 25, then, that's a lot of time. As Zippy was saying, you have a lot of time to dump into this stuff. But at 20 years old, a lot less likely that you're going to be focusing on that. A lot less likely that you're going to have zero footprint. Unless you know how to cover it up.
Himself a ghost. That means he's got programming knowledge. He knows how to use encrypted accounts. No, he knows how to hide what he's doing online. He knows how to use VPNs. He knows how to use Tor. He knows all of that stuff, Tor browser. And so he's able to mask what he's doing online. Now, and again, all hypothetical, but the question.
Oh, we got breaking news. Did Obama, is this true? Obama endorses Kamala. Let's see. Obama to throw. Plans to. All right, let's see what Politico's got to say. Former president, but either way, welcome to the party. We also got Free Breather in the building. Welcome to the party, guys. Good to see you. Let's see what we got. And so, not a day late, 10 hours late, but let's see. So as of just about noon, former President Barack Obama plans to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential bid, according to two people familiar with his plans. Somebody close to the source. Hey, we also got Bailey. Welcome to the party. We may or may not have seen that Obama just endorsed Harris. Let's see. Welcome. So that endorsement could come as soon as Thursday, according to one of the people granted anonymity to speak about an endorsement that is not yet public. Obama. What about Twitter? Let's see. Obama. Because indeed it is Thursday. So I don't see anything just yet. I mean, clearly the plan is there, but technically, I'm good. He has no choice. What is that? What's he waiting for? Labor Day or the deadline the DNC quietly set yesterday for any other competitors? When Joe Biden tweeted his withdrawal from the presidential nomination on Sunday and almost immediately endorsed Harris, party leaders rushed to add their support. Even the dump Biden leaders who had been demanding an quote open process to replace Biden, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, were on board with the anointment within 24 hours. The Clintons climbed on board about the what is that? Notably absent. The man who picked Joe Biden as his own running mate after a couple of days head scratching by observers that Barack Obama will finally ready an endorsement, quote, soon. Former president, is this the same thing? No. So they've been in close touch since she announced the candidacy, having multiple conversations, kicks off her campaign. 4 people familiar with their discussions. So, I mean, this is all he said, she said, but it does seem like it's going there. But, not official yet. So technically, still not clickbait. Mind Delusion said, what do we get that? Did I miss something? I don't know what you're referring to. How slimy of the DNC. Well, wouldn't be the DNC if it wasn't slimy as fuck.
Doing online. Now, and again, all hypothetical, but the question is, how did he know all of this information? How did he know this? Did he know that there would be a low security posture at this event? Did he know
probably
that the Secret Service would be split between multiple events? I don't think anyone was really tracking that from the outside. That hey, Joe Biden's got an event here, and Donald Trump's got an event here, and the RNC is right here. So Secret Service doesn't have.
What's his? I missed the most obvious question, which is, what's the kid's motive?
Well, Tucker, it's one of those great times where the government is telling us authorities are baffled as to what the motive might be.
Well, I thought they were telling us that Iran did it or Assad did it.
Within a few days,
going to gas Trump with his poison gas reserves.
Within a few days after, we get this story about gas his own people.
It was Iran
when he's winning the war.
Iran did it. Okay,
and so we're told it was Iran. But that being said, the Iranian, that stuff goes back to Soleimani. That stuff is like some old, we're going to get you back.
It's also from manipulative
from this, and it's interesting that the first country that we get told may have had a role in this.
Fake blood on the rooftop. What does that mean? I know what it means, but I mean, what's the implication here? Mind Delusion says, obviously, because he used a VPN. Yeah, ExpressVPN will allow you to create an entire assassination plan without being found out. Imagine.
And it's interesting that the first country that we get told may have had a role in this is exactly the same country that the Leviathan and the oligarchs and the neocons want to go to war with.
Obviously. No, it's also transparently fake, but like has anyone, like, why would a kid die to kill Trump? Like, what do we know about? Do we know anything about the guy? What do his parents say? I mean, what is this?
So
there's a news vacuum around the most dramatic thing that's happened in the past 20 years in the United States.
Tucker, think about how CNN or regime media would go after a J6 family, right? They would go after they've got the cousins, they've got the sister, they've got the brother. They're knocking on doors. They're talking to everyone who's ever met the person. They know your grocer. They know the guy who works at your in this case Sheets.
And it's all on primetime, mainstream media all day. But this, silence.
They're talking to every single person who may have come in contact with this. Got a couple interviews.
So we don't know what his motive was.
Of kids. They're not putting out any motive. The most they're saying is that they found on his phone photographs of Trump, photographs of Biden, searches for the RNC, searches for the DNC, searches for pornography, by the way. One of his final searches on the day of, that wasn't in the timeline, but we're told that on the day of, he was searching pornography.
What is that supposed to mean?
And I think that's about it. That's all we're getting.
Is there evidence that there was more than one shooter?
Yes.
There's a lot of questions.
So from what I've seen, excuse me, from what I've seen, there's an audio engineer who took the audio file, and you can see where the shots from crooks are coming, and they have a certain signature, and then the counterfire from the Secret Service, and then there is a third type of sound, which is bullets. So Free Breather said this is all a psyop. I think so, but who's orchestrating it, and how was it allowed to work out? That's the question. What are you doing, Mort? What are you doing? You are going to pull the microphone out of the thing. We can't do that. Just lay down. You're all right. Even get your farting ass smelling up the place. Yeah, right. I mean, what is that? Whatever. Funkmaster said he wanted to rack one off before a suicide mission. Goonin. Unwanted Foe said, yeah, I know, but there's a difference between reading it and hearing someone talk about it. Just cause a physical reaction, like bugs crawling on me. That'll do that to you. That'll do it to you.
And that's all we're getting.
Is there evidence that there was more than one shooter?
There's a lot of questions. There are some photos floating around, very heavily pixelated, of something on top of a water tower that we have no idea what that is. It appears to be in some of the photos and some not. Couldn't tell you what that is. There's also some pretty compelling evidence that shows the sight lines from where he was on top of this AGR building. And then keep in mind, by the way, we haven't mentioned it, but the people actually died at this. So Corey Compatore, this firefighter, actually was killed.
R.I.P. Let's get a dilly for our fallen firemen. There was someone else who was shot too, right? I mean, like, they didn't die, but they should get their due. Definitely aliens. I mean, it would make more sense than a lone 20-year-old getting through all the redundancies of the security of the Secret Service. They should play video games as well, because why not? Yeah, right. That would go right in line with all the bullshit.
I haven't mentioned it, but the people actually died at this. So Corey Compatore, this firefighter, actually was killed. So I know there's this like left-wing theory that, it was all staged and it was all fake, but someone did actually die. This wasn't a situation where, Trump is calling him up saying, Tommy, I know you're the best sniper in the world. So just the ear, Tommy. No, it's ridiculous when you actually, it's my favorite conspiracy theory about all of it. But in terms of it, we don't have any evidence of any other shooters at this point, but we also have a striking lack of evidence about this shooter at the same time.
So Ron Johnson, in an interview yesterday, said that there was some as yet unidentified man in a gray suit who showed up on the scene and told witnesses to send photographic evidence, pictures and video to him
of the body.
So tell us what we know about this guy.
So, and this is spoken to in reports all over the place now, but this is spoken to in the report where they're told there's this man in the gray suit, and that the man in the gray suit was later identified as.
Yeah, but his name was too long, and so it was his jacket. Like, they just shortened his name on his jacket.
somebody, what it looks like, because he had a 215 number. That's the Philadelphia area code. Familiar, because everyone I grew up with had a 215 or 610 area code, that stated to be from the ATF's Philadelphia office. They requested the photos of crooks for facial recognition purposes. It's more of an FBI thing, but okay. The staff called the phone number, confirmed that it was associated with the ATF. However, in subsequent attempts to establish further talks with the individual at that number, Senator Johnson's staff received the following email, and it's just total boilerplate. Direct all of your questions to our main office, our main spokesman. This is an ongoing investigation.
I'm trying to find picture or video of the water tower that they're talking about. Nothing is coming up, but again, if anybody what is this? If anybody can find anything, let me know.
We'd like to coordinate our request, blah, 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 blah. So this guy's gone totally dark. Whoever this man in the gray suit was, who happened to be probably one of these augments from the ATF office, he's sent out there at the same time that apparently we can't get any extra secret service. We can't get anyone from all the other offices. You're relying on local police to secure, obviously, the most opportune building to connect an assassination shot.
I don't think again, I'm just reporting what I've heard, but it might have been a community note, but the whatever it was that that was his jacket, and I don't know if it was a mistake, but just his name was too long, so they shortened it for the jacket. Mind Delusion wants to see the dudes in gray suits. Men in Black, that's the 90s. That's the 90s.
From President Trump, that's completely unguarded from the roof, has nobody on it. Nobody thinks to put anybody on it. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, Tucker, but when I go to these events, every time that I've gone to a presidential event, I'm thinking, especially if it's outdoors, I'm thinking, that building, that building, that building, that building, this thing over here. This is, by the way,
the water tower.
When you see the when they hang the flags from cranes and stuff like that, or they might have some farm equipment up, or the the fracking wells that were used in the Butler rally from 2020, by the way, those are meant to be security implements. In addition to decorative, they're also used for concealment of potential snipers. So, okay, you've got a guy who could be on this building, great, put a flag in front of it. So now you can't see. So now that building it's not completely protected, but it's at least less of a threat than it could be.
Interesting. Right.
This building, from there to the stage, nothing.
What makes me feel that things are completely out of control in this country is 8 days later, 9 days later, we still can't answer the most basic questions about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are in charge of protecting Donald Trump's life
failed,
have not answered the questions. They haven't been held to account. Pretty obviously never will be.
Nope.
It does feel like there's no recourse. Like they can just murder a guy or allow his murder, and the rest of us just have to sit there and be like, yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
That's kind of how it goes. So, guys, we are coming up on the 3-hour mark. As you can see, there is plenty more to go. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Like, that's not the country you want to live in at all. That's not the country it was 5 years ago. What is this?
We've held one FBI briefing. We had one FBI briefing, like the day of, explaining what happened.
That's it.
Where are the daily briefings? Right, when there's a fire in downtown whatever city, inner city, you're getting at least 2-3 briefings. Maybe what happened, a fire or a mass shooting. Okay, where's the day 2 briefing? Where's the day 3 briefing? Where's the we brought the parents in for questioning. By the way, I left this out. One of the things that he was searching, Ethan Crumbly.
Oh, Ethan Crumbly. Freebreather asks, "Am I a state actor?" Oh, I wish I had that kind of resources. But actually, no. Yeah. I'm a state actor. You should tell everybody that they need to make sure that they keep an eye on the Indian Jesus, because he's talking some real good stuff, but he's a plant. He's a plant. Who pays me to do this? Unwanted foe. Thank you so much. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Where are you? Are you up at the I was gonna say unwanted vote or Funk Master's got you beat. I wasn't sure if you were up to 10 yet, but either way, very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you. And let's keep the party raging.
By the way, one of the things that he was searching, Ethan Crumbly. Remember Ethan Crumbly?
No.
Ethan Crumbly was the school shooter where his parents later got charged for giving him access to the gun. So in this situation, his parents also gave him access to the gun. he may have been looking up whether or not his parents would get charged for what he was about to do. And on his Steam account, the video game online platform, he posted July 13th will be my premiere.
Do we have any indication of what drugs he may have been on?
So at this
I'm a fern. Okay, I'm a fern.
point, no. Total radio silence. However, both of his parents were behavioral counselors licensed. So certainly people who would have access to all the finest SSRIs, antidepressants.
So there does seem to be a connection.
And there were some searches found on him for major depressive disorder, which is an actual set phrase. That's not just I'm looking up about, like the average person might say, hey, I think I'm depressed. What are the signs of depression? What are the symptoms of depression?
Major
someone
depressive
who knows
disorder.
that set phrase, major depressive disorder, like, oh, I don't know if your parents were both behavioral counselors who had access to doctors, access to these type of medications, you might know to use that phrase.
Yep.
Okay. What do you think happened?
You know, Tucker, there's one thing to go off the evidence, right?
Well, I just, oh, sorry. What if I just dipped out? What if I just dipped out and just like let you guys, kept the stream running and just let you guys wonder what happened? What happened? Yep, a new clone. Please accept my apologies. I don't want you as a foe. That is why he's the unwanted foe. There's nothing you can do about it. There is nothing you can do to win this man over. He is the unwanted foe.
And there's one thing.
How did I miss that? How did I miss that? How did I miss that? Oh, and I just got a delivery this morning too. They only had 14 grams left of the shake, and it's pissing me off. I figured it all out how to dose myself properly. You know, I rarely smoke during the day anymore, but I smoke to go to sleep, and I'll have they have the platinum tier, high tier, mid tier, low tier. So I always get the platinum tier buds, but they're fucking expensive. And so then I get the high tier shake because it's still high tier, but it's the shake, but it's still high tier. So you mix them. Then you get some extract. I like my Gorilla Glue #4 batter. And you take a little scoop, and you guys have seen that. Put it into the joint. 2 of those out, and they keep running out of shake. They keep running out of the shake. That's too much work. That's too much work. I literally, I don't know how it works where y'all are from, but they recently legalized it here, and there may or may not be ways to procure without having to go to a licensed dispensary. And so I'll block the name so don't nobody get in trouble. But I just say, hey, can I get a menu? And then they send me this different tiers. And come on, let's get some. Oh, it's not gonna whatever. But all it is: flour, backwoods, Curaleaf, disposable vapes, all that stuff. And I just tell them what I want, and they deliver it to my house. So very, very, very easy. Shout out to Jersey, and shout out to those who make it happen. You know what I mean? All right. Little side quest there. What do we got here?
Use that phrase.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What do you think happened?
You know, Tucker, there's one thing to go off the evidence, right? And there's one thing to go and sit there and say, okay, this is all the evidence we have. None of this adds up. I've never seen anything like it. I've never heard of anything like this about someone. It sounds ludicrous to me. So the guy rides up with a bicycle, and look at the picture. It's just a regular rifle bag sitting there on the bicycle. Anyone who's shot a gun ever could look at that and say, well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
There's a black gun in there.
And oh, by the way, nobody else is riding bicycles around here with backpacks, flying a drone with a rangefinder. It's like, what else did this guy need? A big sign that says, "I am the sniper," and pointing it down at him. It's like, and they see him an hour before,
I meant to hit the stupid.
Half hour before, 15 minutes before, 10 minutes prior before Trump comes out. 6:11, by the way, is when the bullets are fired. And so then we're told this is key. And actually, I'm setting all that stuff aside because that's not actually where I'm focused on what I want to know more about. I want to know more about these explosives.
I said, shit. Me too.
Why haven't we seen any pictures of the explosives? Why haven't we seen or even heard any information about how sophisticated were these things? We're told they were remote control detonated because they said they have a detonator. We've seen pictures of the detonator also provided by local police, by the way, not the federal enforcement. So if this kid knew enough to build remote control bombs, you really think that he's just doing that one time? You think that's just the first day that he was, I'm going to build some bombs this morning and drive down to the Trump rally? No, this is something that he had been planning. This is something that he had been in preparation.
Would it really have helped? Would it really have helped? The man, barely a man, was on a bicycle with a rangefinder and a rifle on a roof. I don't know that a sign would have helped. It's not like they didn't know. It's not like they didn't know. So would a sign really have helped? I don't think so. I think it would have confused them even more. Be like, I'm the sassy Nader. Like Ralph Nader, but a little more sassy. I'm the sassy Nader. And they were like, you wouldn't, if you were really a sassy Nader, you wouldn't do that. I mean, with the level of competence and incompetence that we're seeing, I would not be surprised. Fuckmaster said they're like those invisible boom booms from January 6th. None of this makes sense. It only makes sense when you accept the axiom that, well, okay, there's some level of bullshit here. We just have to determine how much. And that goes back to, for the last how many months, I've been saying the difference between what is going to end up being the people who are willing to vote for Biden, now Harris, and willing to vote for Trump. It's going to be the level at which you determine is reasonable to say, okay, there's clearly a conspiracy going on here. If you're willing to just trust the official story, if you're willing to trust the politicians, if you're willing to trust Fauci, of course, you wouldn't vote for Trump. But if you're willing to entertain some of these ideas that may not be so popular, but may be very accurate, you're probably going the other way.
For this is something, by the way, when typically we see, especially when we know if he's using encrypted accounts, if he's using the internet in the way that he's able to at that level, that perhaps he's in communication with somebody through those accounts. Perhaps people who know how to build bombs.
Perhaps people in the CIA or FBI.
Don't know. Okay, we don't know. My question is, I want to see the level of sophistication on these bombs, and I want to see if this is something that he was able to actually pull off on his own, because we don't have answers about the pipe bomber from Jan 6. By the way, the pipe bomber who, oh, by the way, was directly connected to someone who never acknowledges it. What was her name again? Oh, right, Kamala Harris. So the pipe bomb was found directly outside the DNC. Kamala Harris is inside. Her Secret Service detail, again, Secret Service, is right outside, is informed of the pipe bomber the same way the Secret Service was informed of the sniper.
Mine just said, no one is ever blind. Well, maybe us, because we use plastic straws. We are truly the worst. I was working in a restaurant when they made plastic straws illegal in Jersey. Well, actually, no. That was super, super, super frustrating because paper straws are bullshit. But then they made it illegal for stores to give out plastic bags. So now you have to bring your own bag to the supermarket. Fuck you in terms of what you're going to put in your to line your waste paper basket. Fuck you in terms of all of the handy household uses for plastic bags that are recycled by being used again. No, now you have to go out and purchase plastic. I hate this place. I hate this place. Except ban the invisible boom booms. Look at me. I'm a lefty. Well, yeah, that's a good start. That's a good start.
Is informed of the pipe bomber the same way the Secret Service was informed.
Wait, I missed. What are we talking about?
Found directly outside the DNC. Kamala Harris is inside. Her Secret Service detail, again, Secret Service, is right outside, is informed of the pipe bomber the same way the Secret Service was informed of the sniper, and yet doesn't respond. And we have them in video. Darren Beatty and Revolver have the great video of this, where the Secret Service is just letting people walk around in front of this pipe bomb, and Kamala Harris is inside, yet she has never publicly acknowledged it's a real pipe bomb threat to her life, right? Why aren't we hearing that? Why aren't we hearing Kamala Harris nominated to be president after surviving an assassination attempt on her life on January 6th? Why have you never heard that phrase from the media?
Not one time.
Not one. Why wouldn't you?
Because it's fake.
Because it's totally fake. And so again, we have another situation where explosives are involved. There's the shady ATF maybe agent in a gray suit. The Secret Service is involved. Kamala Harris is like tangentially involved because she's the one who somehow seems to be the beneficiary of all of these things, at least in the current moment. And we're also told, by the way, explosives at the house. So like what kid is like, I've got kids, they're not 20, but if my kids are making bombs, I'm going to know about that. Like, I'm going to say, hey, what are you working on, son?
Right.
You making some bombs?
I think it's reasonable enough that we would see that you could do stuff like that without your parents knowing. I don't know about y'all. I was never building explosives, but I got away with some shit right in front of my parents, right under my parents' noses. They had no idea. So I mean, if you're, especially if you have an FBI handler, probably not as hard as just hiding it by yourself. The gray suits, they're coming for you.
About that, like, I'm going to say, hey, what are you working on, son?
Right.
You making some bombs? Am I gonna show them a better way to run that circuit? No. I'm going to say, hey, don't do this. Like, this is.
Are they though? Are they though? Because plastic straws have almost nothing to do with the life cycle or well-being of sea turtles. There was like one picture that sparked all of this bullshit.
This is what's going to put you on a list.
So are you suggesting you think the Biden administration, which was responsible for Trump's security, allowed this to happen?
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Ooh, it's not outside the realm of possibility. And Nick brings up a great point. Said Biden told me I needed an F-16 to take on the government. Apparently not. Apparently not. The Turtle's the one in the gray suits. Very possibly. Very possibly. I mean, we've heard of the lizard people, but the turtle people, that might be a real concern. I wanted to get this part.
The Biden administration, which was responsible for Trump's security, allowed this to happen?
It's not outside the realm of possibility. It's just not. And I think
and again, I don't think that it was somebody in the that high up. I don't think this specific instance was that high up. I think it would have been a smoother operation if that were the case. I could be entirely very, 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 very wrong about that. But that is my intuition. Master said, you're saying one turtle with a cocaine problem ruined it for everyone. Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was Biden's call, though. That's the part that I
right. But the Biden administration,
I mean,
one of the weird quirks of our system is, especially now,
the Biden administration is the name, but that's not actually
of
the person
course,
who's
but
running it.
Donald Trump is running to displace the Democratic Party from its position of power, but the party controls its security.
Let's say you knew.
That's very weird.
Let's say you knew that security posture wouldn't be doing well back then. Let's say you knew that that Secret Service was stretched then. Let's say you knew, for example, that Trump's normal team wasn't around him, the people that are used to the type of threats that come around when Donald Trump is in town and holding a rally. And let's say you also, and keep in mind that when you're talking about FBI, when you're talking about loners like this, I'll just say this. My mind keeps going back to the Garland, Texas shooting. So you might remember this. It was like Pamela Geller, and they did draw Muhammad. Actually, I know some people who were there very well people who were there that was then later attacked by a couple of these locally trained, homegrown domestic terrorists who were supposedly in support of ISIS at the time. Well, we know that there were two guys who opened fire and that the two guys were both shot and killed. And we know that, and they were killed before everyone else was able to be killed inside Garland, Texas, 2015. But did you know about the FBI guy in the car behind them?
Directing the whole thing.
That had texted, tear up Texas. That this entire thing, Elton Simpson, and this came out, by the way, because they had a third friend who was later charged with like financing all of this, that his lawyer uncovers text messages and communications and discovery about an FBI employee, as well as multiple informants that are all involved with this mosque that they're attending in the Phoenix area. And one of the agents or one of the employees is paid like $132,000 over the course of years to befriend these guys and to push them in this direction of radicalization. And then we're told that, and all of this comes out in the lawsuit, by the way, completely thrown out based on standing grounds, sovereign immunity, that not only, think about it, for years, we were told that these were just a couple of nut jobs trying to shoot up a conservative Muslim Muhammad event, whatever. That
Muhammad event.
Not only is there an FBI guy talking to them, and The Intercept, by the way, used to report on things like this, and he's saying tear up Texas, he's inciting them to violence, knows that they're going to the event, and is sitting in the car behind him, behind the two of them, when they open fire. The initial photo that was reported by local law enforcement of the event was taken by the FBI asset who was sitting in the car. That's how he was able to get the photo, because he was right there. Wow, what a great shot. Photographer at the Trump rally, of course, the New York Times was there. And, obviously that's at the beginning of the rally, that's when the photographers always come in. And then the photographers leave after a couple of minutes. There's like the set period when they come in, and then they leave from that directly under the ground shot.
Are they talking about the main picture that they got after the shooting? He's talking about the beginning of the rally. I'm a little confused. If you guys know, then I don't really want to have to go back through the whole thing. I'm sure Tucker will ask a clarifying question soon enough, but I'm a little lost. Mind Illusion said, I think we chat are onto something. Maybe a turtle tried to shoot Trump. This is an increase to this increase in AI to cover it up. Very possible. Very, very possible. Maybe not. Buckmaster said, yeah, Nick, there's at least one in every species. The turtles are not immune. Undelusion said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is not far away future. It might be our president. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sandor Clegane says, the whole shooting is a farce. In what sense? That nobody got shot, or it was all planned, or in a farce in what sense?
Kind of interesting that that's when the shots were fired, but let's leave that aside. That he was sitting in the car behind the Garland, Texas shooters when it took place. And when that happened, Tucker, he fled. He was actually stopped by local police and arrested. They said, why are you fleeing the scene? And he said, well, I saw shooting. I didn't know. He was.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. But what do you mean by farce?
He was put in handcuffs at one point. Later came out years later, this guy was an FBI asset. He'd been talking to them the entire time. Comey wiped the entire thing under the rug.
So there's precedent for this. And I think January 6th is the perfect example. We've never gotten a counting of how many federal agents were in the crowd, but an enormous number, way disproportionate to any other event I've ever heard of in Washington.
Ray Epps.
And it was to some extent organic. To some extent, it was a setup. That's my sincere and pretty well-informed opinion of that. So this kind of thing has happened before.
One of the stakes are high. One of the questions that I would add to the senator's list here, and it's a good list, and they've done great work, but one of the questions that I would add that I don't see, so we keep getting told there were sniper teams, there were counter-sniper teams, local law enforcement, sheriffs, blah, 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 the whole list. But then we're told that there was an ATF agent who shows up in a gray suit with
another gray suit. What is going on? I mean, I thought I wasn't as worried when this started, but now I'm a little concerned.
But then we're told that there was an ATF agent who shows up in a gray suit with no credentials. No credentials. Oh, so you mean like he wasn't in uniform? You mean like he wasn't wearing the blue jacket with the yellow lettering that we've all seen that says ATF? So does that mean he was plainclothes? So does that mean he was in fact undercover? So if this guy was there plainclothes as federal law enforcement,
that gives us a reason to see why there might be confusion as to somebody holding a gun as to what side they're on. Sanders says, Crooks is a distraction. The Secret Service is just being retarded. Ex-director unable to answer anything. It's all a distraction from something. Well, I mean, if you could point us in the right direction, I would be very, very appreciative. I don't think you're wrong. But you know, the conclusion of what it is that we have going on here. You know, I don't want to, as much as we're speculating, I don't necessarily want to jump to conclusions. Yeah, definitely. F the gray suits, dude. The MIG. Funkmaster said Jack's planting the seeds of a new gray suit conspiracy. Oh, you guys are funny. You guys are funny. So we're gonna finish up this little piece here and then head to the after party.
So if this guy was there plain clothes as federal law enforcement,
Come here.
how many potential other law enforcement types did they have in the crowd that day at Butler?
On your face. Come here.
No one's even talking about that yet. So that's the main thing that we need to be asking to Chris Wray, to others. Was this guy who was conducting all of these searches, who was doing site surveys, who was buying ladders, who was flying a drone overhead, was he on your radar? Was he someone that training for an AR-15, training for potentially taking out a president?
And when, you know, with the hearings, the long and short of it is the Secret Service is like, you got to check with the FBI. And the FBI was like, you got to check with the Secret Service. Government. Government. I don't remember what this poll was. Okay, I bet. Yeah. So I had everything. I had everything set up because today, Ben Carlson was on with Tucker, and you know, they were talking about Kamala and stuff, but they also got into a lot of other stuff. And so I had actually had the description and everything ready to go. And well, actually, I was going to, I was, you know, watching through, just, you know, my YouTube playlist, and, I was like, you know, trying to gather just like small stories. Cause I was like, there's so much going on that nobody's having a conversation like this. And, then it came up on, TikTok that, Ben Carlson was, you know, talking about Kamala Harris, saying that she's like a Marxist and whatever. It's like, oh, okay, maybe we got something here. Try to check it out, and it really wasn't there. And then I remembered that this was here, and I was like, you know what, we're going with Jack Poso, and glad you guys are enjoying it. And again, I apologize that, you know, last night was not my best night, but hopefully this is this makes it up to you. Mind Delusion said, oh, I get it. Men in Black is the Men in Black is aliens. The gray suits is political, and white robes is something else that's really not cool. Spicy suits for sure. Yep. Thank you, sir. Thank you guys for being here. Indeed. Shout out to each and every one of you. It's for you. If you are watching this live or on the replay, I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, let's finish this up and get to the after party. Guys, remember, if you're not a member of the channel, you can sign up. It's $2.99 a month. That gives you 12 after parties. At the very least, you get 12 after parties for $3, and then you can never, you could cancel it and never do it again. And it is free to join the Discord itself. So jump in, see what it is. Even if you're not familiar with Discord, it's super, super simple. It's basically, you know, like a group chat, but there's a lot more that you can do. But you know, we'll happily walk you through everything. So join the free chat, see what it's like, see who's in there. See what's good, see if you want to be a part of it, and then if you like it, then, you know, sign up. And again, it's $2.99, and if you hate it, then that's $2.99 out your pocket. But you won't hate it.
Training for an AR-15, training for potentially taking out a president. Was he on your radar? I mean, this is why we have the FBI, right? This is why we pay for all these things, and we're told that, oh, well, we need the surveillance state, we need the Patriot Act, we need all of this because it's keeping us safe and it's keeping Trump safe.
So you just came from the Republican convention in Milwaukee.
Real quick, Nick, actually, if you want to copy and paste just copy the thing that I just posted and throw that in your rotation of stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't hear anybody talking about this, including the former president. And I do think, I don't know, but my sense is he doesn't want to stoke more division than we already have. On the other hand, someone who tried to murder him came incredibly close. And at very best, the Biden administration allowed that to happen, whether intentionally or not, but they allowed that to happen.
Yeah, but I think, again, the timing, I don't remember I think the RNC only ended, 2 days ago? And he definitely told the story, and he was saying, like, I'm not going to tell this a lot because, it gets me emotional. And he was, he was like, he told the story. And then I saw it. So I guess, again, this is just something that was after this recording.
They didn't have a briefing that morning. They didn't. I mean, it was negligent to the point of criminal behavior.
For me, it comes back to the fact that the two pieces, in addition to the no briefing, the fact that no one was on the roof at any point other than apparently the Thomas Matthew Crooks. Right. And then finally, once all law enforcement around the event knew that there was a problem, knew that something had gone wrong, and Trump is still backstage.
I know.
The first call you make is to his detail and say, hold him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right. That's the point. They allowed this to happen.
All right, let's see. Green screen. I don't think I would be very surprised. Number one, because they have the wide shot where both of them are in it, but also because Tucker's fucking rich, so he could pay for this whole thing just as a studio, just because he wants a studio. So I don't think so. But I'm drunk too. But I don't see it.
Again, maybe unintentionally, maybe very much intentionally.
But he's allowed to go on stage.
But they allowed it to happen, right? So that's just a fact, not contested. And yet even Republicans are like, maybe it's too much for the American mind to digest. You just don't think of your country as a place where that could happen. But why aren't, the more I think about it, the madder I get and the more afraid I get. I didn't see anybody with that view in Milwaukee, and I don't hear anyone with that view in the media. Like, why are we ignoring this?
I think it's fair that, for the RNC specifically, that it would have been maybe not a mistake, but not the best foot forward to make it about like, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me. Like, I think the resilience that you show by like, yeah, I got shot last week was good. We got shit to do. I think that has a stronger presence. And, a big issue or a potential issue was Donald Trump making this election about how he lost the last election. And a lot of people were saying, I don't want to hear about 2020. I don't want to hear about it. We heard plenty about it. And, it played out and Biden's in the White House. What are we doing from here? So I think in that same tone, I'm just spitballing, but, it's like, yeah, I got shot last week as planned. I was shot last week as planned. What's good? That's just how we do. That's just how we roll in MAGA country. You know what I mean? That's his barn, which is probably the size of most houses. Probably. Yep.
With that view in Milwaukee, and I don't hear anyone with that view in the media. Like, why are we ignoring this?
And you could hear this as well from a lot of people just saying, hey, we support the Secret Service. We support the Secret Service. Secret Service, great. That being said, I will say, and you may not have seen.
I support the Secret Service doing their job. I don't support the Secret Service not doing their job. Maybe that's just me.
Hey, we support the Secret Service. We support the Secret Service. Secret Service, great. That being said, I will say, and you may not have seen this, there was a moment where Kim Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, arrives in Milwaukee, goes into the Fiserv Forum, and is surrounded by senators and attendees and delegates, and they just start screaming at her. They just start absolutely laying into her.
Yeah, but that's the point where someone makes a citizen's arrest and says, I'm sorry, the guy got shot in the face because of your, at very best, negligence.
Yeah.
At the very best. This is at the very best that some lone 20-year-old was to get through all your defenses. At the very best. And you think that you don't even need to resign? Like what? Who is you? Who is you?
The guy got shot in the face because of your, at very best, negligence.
And again, this is why they are trying to push this narrative that, oh, no, it was the shrapnel. Because being able to say he got shot in the face is a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement.
Yes.
it doesn't seem like maybe Americans or maybe conservative Americans or non-liberal Americans or whatever people I know are just not good at drawing the line. Like, this has to be the line. You cannot allow this or they're going to shoot you. I mean, that's just super obvious to me. You cannot allow this. Where's that famous Solzhenitsyn quote? You know, they arrested a third of the population of Leningrad or something. And looking back from the gulag, we all wish that we just said no. Did you know what I mean? And like put up a bit of a fight.
Well,
Because
and how would those officers have felt if they were the ones who were terrified of what would happen when they went home?
Well, exactly. So I don't know. I don't think that we're thinking about this enough. Like, this was one of the biggest things that's ever happened in this country.
The I don't want to say Republicans, but the side of the people, the side of freedom, you must, Team Humanity, whatever you want to call it.
Team America.
You can't let this go. You can never let this assassination attempt go until we have the bottom of it. Look what they did to Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, Tucker, look what they did to Kyle Rittenhouse. And you were there, I was there, in terms of the investigation. We have every piece of video footage from that day was brought up. We have every piece of data. The FBI held a plane that was flying overhead. That was, I'm certain, by the way, was also collecting cell phone information. That's one of the reasons that they kept this thing secret for so long. Oh, and oh, by the way, the FBI agent's testimony was done in the blind and then later stricken from the record. And then, we can't find the tapes of his actual, his actual deposition.
The problem here is in saying we can never forget, we got to hold on to it, is that they are starting to stack shit, which we need to remember this and that and that and that and that. Never forget how they treated us in COVID. Never forget what they did to Kyle Rittenhouse. Never forget what they did to Trump in the courts. Never forget that people are going to forget. That's the game. Throw so much shit at the wall that you literally do sound like a crazy conspiracy. What about this? And this is going to do that. And that. When it really is a conspiracy, it's just if you convince people that all of these things are conspiracy theories as opposed to actual conspiracies that occurred within our government, then it'll be very easy to discredit everything that somebody is saying. That's the game.
So the FBI had footage overhead of what was going on. They did all this to Kyle Rittenhouse, who just defended himself, who was just a regular kid who defended himself and defended his town because he saw marauders coming in and trying to destroy everything. And so we get all the footage, we get all the investigation, we get the prosecution, we get everything that comes out of it. And yet Donald Trump seems to be very likely to be the next president of the United States, and we're told to just let it go. It makes no sense. Now, if you care about your country and if you care about power, then what you would do, by the way, is, and this gets a little dark, but what you might do is to say, all right, we've shown him how close we can get. Now we're going to start putting people around him that we want him to listen to.
I mean, that's the way to go. If we can, if Trump can be surrounded by people who actually help him and help us as Americans, help the country, instead of working against him, imagine what can get done. Imagine. But that has to be, as people who are planning to vote for Trump, that I think has to be one of the top priorities to be very critical of who he puts around him. And so while I'm saying, hey, I'm open to JD Vance, at the same time, I'm very acutely aware of, hey, you used to be a never Trumper. Hey, you've said this, that, and the other. While I do trust his judgment until I see a reason not to, I've already seen a general reason, so let me rephrase that. I feel justified in trusting Trump's judgment when it comes to JD Vance, but I still have a level of skepticism because of the level of corruption that Trump let around him his first time around. So right now, all we can do is wait and see. There's really just not a lot for us to do. And it's kind of difficult for me trying to bring you fresh stuff to talk about. Where we're in, it's not like there's nothing going on. There's a lot going on, but we're in a peak of we're in a valley of a peak. Like the news has been around here, and then we got all this stuff. But now everything is currently developing, and we're in a little bit of a dip because everything happened, but we don't know any information yet. And so, this was a good conversation in terms of kind of discussing where are we at with all of this stuff. Where are we at? Because we don't know a lot, but having the right questions is very important. So, definitely, again, the link to that podcast is in the description. There is about an hour left if you want to go check it out. But I would like to party. So I am headed over to Discord for the after party. I can see the Golden Bear already sitting up in there. Don't forget, guys, it is very easy to join. Just scroll right below this video and hit that join button. Send me a DM, and we will get you acquainted with Discord and everything that you need to know. Really, guys, it's more than just a fun time. It's not just a fun time. It really is, but it's more than that. It's about building a community so that we can have some sway. So that when we say, "I want this," then we have the power to be a collective, to all be pushing for the same thing. To say that whether it's a political policy or just a culture of speaking to each other with respect, that we're all human beings, and that even if you don't agree with my position on this, that doesn't make you a bad person. The ability to do that is something that we've lost, and I'm trying my damnedest to bring it back. And if we don't, then we're fucked. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, again, guys, it is absolutely free. And there are no gray suits around, and we will ban any gray suits immediately. But it's also a free speech platform, so there is not a single word or a single phrase that will automatically get you banned. You can get banned if you're a piece of shit and you're annoying people and stuff, but you can say whatever you want. Indeed, pinky promise. Pinky promise. There you go. Join it up. Head over to the after party. Thank you so very, very much to all of you hanging out. And of course, we had the donations. Guys, you went so hard today, and I really, really, really do appreciate it. Just Talk TV, Funkmaster General, Harley Rose, Unwanted Foe, Garrett Grant with the gifted memberships. Guys, thank you so much. And of course, as always, our sponsor of the stream, the Funk Master General. Man, I can't say it enough. Thank you. Not just for being here, not just for being part of the conversation, which is, again, really all I ever wanted. I wish that we didn't need money to eat and pay bills and all that stuff. I would never ask for a dime. Unfortunately, that's the way the world works. And for those of you who see that we're doing something here, I really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Once again, we got our co-host Morty here, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, remember, tomorrow is Philosophy Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until then, we are out of here. Peace.